Chapter 490. Good morning, Mr. Chin, Huamin said drowsily as she rubbed her eyes. Get up and get ready. I'll wait for you downstairs. Chin Chu kissed Huamin's cheek and went downstairs. After Huamin got up and washed up, she walked downstairs. The dining room on the first floor was brightly lit. Looking at the garden outside through the tall tempered glass, it was really refreshing. Good morning, madam. Good morning, a young lady. Along the way, all the maids greeted Huamin, which made her feel a bit uncomfortable. Did you sleep well last night? Chin Chu asked dotingly. It was great. Really? But I didn't sleep well. Chin Chu said meaningfully as he sipped his coffee. Is it because I snored? Huamin tilted her head and asked. No, is it because you're not used to sleeping in a new bed? Huamin asked with a smile. Not really. Then why didn't you sleep well? Huamin asked curiously. Because you seduced me when you were drunk last night. Then, just as I was about to make my next move, you fainted on the bed and slept like a pig, Chin Chu said slowly. Huamin, so, your alcohol tolerance is really bad. Test complete. Mr. Chin, I'm sorry. I apologize. Apologies don't work. Give me some actual compensation. What kind of compensation do you want? Huamin looked at Chin Chu with puppy eyes. I have to do it twice tonight, to make up for what happened last night. Otherwise, I'm sorry for taking a cold shower in the middle of the night. Ahem, can you keep your voice down? There are other people here. Huamin felt awkward. She was afraid that the maids nearby would hear her. Looking at Huamin's embarrassed and shy appearance, Chin Chu proudly raised the corner of his mouth, indicating that he was very satisfied. What's our schedule today? Huamin took a bite of the bread and asked. I'll listen to you. Then I want to take you back to the old house because my mom and Jixin want to celebrate my birthday with me. Chin Chu slowly picked up his cup of coffee and didn't say anything. But it's okay if you don't want to go. I'll be back soon. We're going to have dinner with Gao Ran and Lingling tonight. Perhaps he was afraid that Chin Chu would feel awkward, so Huamin came up with an excuse for him. No, I'll go with you. Chin Chu raised his head and said firmly. But my mom, her attitude might not be too good. Huamin was a little worried. I understand. No matter how she treats me, I'll accept it. Our family owes it to her. From the day I got together with you, I was prepared to accept anything. Chin Chu's words were very manly, and Huamin felt very touched. He knew that his mom wouldn't be nice to him, but he was still willing to go with her. It only meant that he loved her and her dog. After dinner, the two of them drove off in Chin Chu's Maybach. When they passed by the mall, Chin Chu got out of the car and bought a lot of high-end nutritional products such as bird's nest and sea cucumber. He also bought the latest model of tablet and phone. On the way, Huamin suddenly asked, Huamin, are we moving to the South Hill mansion soon? Are we going to live there from now on? You don't like it? No, I just think it's too early. We don't have a baby yet, and it's too empty for just the two of us. Plus, it's so far from where I work. Most importantly, I don't want to leave my home at Imperial Park. Huamin gave a few reasons in one breath, but the most important one was that she didn't want to leave her home in the city center. They had lived there for more than 4 months. From the moment they registered their marriage until now, it already felt like home. Chin Chu understood Huamin very well, so he nodded. How about this, we'll live in the city center from Monday to Thursday, and go to the South Hill mansion on Friday night until Sunday. What do you think? Sure, that's a good idea. We can live in both places. Huamin nodded in agreement. After driving for more than 30 minutes, they finally arrived at the old mansion. The words, demolition, on the wall were still very eye-catching. Chin-Chu frowned slightly. How did the whole corporation deal with the demolition? Chapter 491. Hua Zhenghai never really wanted to demolish it. He's a cunning businessman, so he wouldn't buy this worthless slum area at a loss. He just wanted to force me to help him. I agreed to go back to the whole corporation, so he immediately cancelled the demolition of this area. After that, everything was peaceful, and he didn't mention anything about forced demolitions, so this was all a trap. If that's the case, then even if you didn't go to him, he probably wouldn't have forced the demolition. He was just trying to scare you, Chin-Chu analyzed. Hua Min nodded. Yes, theoretically, but I've thought of something. What? If I don't go back to the whole corporation this time, then Hua Zhenghai might cause trouble again. He knows that my mother is my weakness, so he's been making trouble for her. I feel like I'm being led around by the nose, so I'm going to beat him at his own game. This time, when I go back to the whole corporation, I'll be ready to fight back. I'm not the kind of person who likes to be led around by others. Hua Zhenghai has to pay for bullying me like this, Hua Min said word by word as she looked out the car window. Good girl, tell me if you need anything. I know, I can handle it for now, don't worry. Hua Min hugged Chin-Chu's arm and smiled coquettishly. Chin-Chu always knew what kind of person Hua Min was. She was someone who didn't want to be taken advantage of. If she was provoked, then with her intelligence, she could easily kill someone. It was just a matter of whether she wanted to do it or not. When the two walked into the yard with their bags, young Meirong was the only one there. She seemed to be picking vegetables. Mom. Hua Min called out hesitantly. Young Meirong looked up and saw Hua Min and Chin-Chu. She seemed unhappy. What's he doing here? Before Hua Min could say anything, Jixin ran out of the house. He was very happy to see Chin-Chu and Hua Min. Sis. Brother-in-law, you're back. What brother-in-law? You better watch your mouth, young Meirong scolded angrily. Sis and brother-in-law registered their marriage and are legally married. Even though they didn't have a wedding, in my heart, he's still my brother-in-law. Jing Jixin ignored his mother's scolding and walked over to help Hua Min and Hua Min take their things. Chin-Chu handed her the tablet and phone. These are for you. Wow. It's the latest model. Thank you, brother-in-law. Jing Jixin was a guy, so he really liked electronic products. However, the latest electronic products on the market were all very expensive. Although his sister gave him enough living expenses, he still didn't want to spend his sister's money recklessly. Now that Chin-Chu had given him a tablet and a phone, Jing Jixin really liked it. As for the yellow Chevrolet Camaro sports car, he still didn't dare to drive it home for fear that his mother would explode in anger. Mom, let me help you. Hua Min walked over and helped his mother pick the vegetables. Young Meirong still didn't look happy, but she didn't say anything. Mom. I want to eat the longevity noodles you made. It's so delicious. Hua Min said coquettishly, not caring if he would be scolded or not. You're the young madam of a rich family now. Why would you care about the food of us commoners? Just go to a restaurant and eat whatever you want. But I just like the food you make. No one can replace the taste. Young Meirong's hand that was picking the vegetables trembled slightly. Hua Min's words seemed to have touched a part of her heart. The two women were busy outside. Jing Jixin poured Chin-Chu a cup of tea, and then the two of them chatted in the room. Brother-in-law, sometimes my sister's temper is very stubborn as a cow. Don't lower yourself to her level. You have to give in to her more. That's just how bad her temper is. That's right, I've been bullied by her since I was young. Ha, but don't look at how strong she looks on the surface. No matter how smart and powerful she is, she's still just a girl. In fact, she's very sensitive and weak inside. If she gets hurt, she'll hide and heal herself. I really love my sister, so please don't let my sister get hurt in the future. Chapter 492. Jing Jixin chuckled, but what he meant was simple. He wanted Qin Chu to be more tolerant of Huamin. Qin Chu was glad that this brother-in-law of his wasn't a useless second-generation heir who lived off his parents' family. Although he was young, he was very mature and loved his sister very much. Don't worry, I will never hurt her. Qin Chu gave Jixin a promise between men. Brother-in-law. I haven't thanked you yet. Although you didn't say anything, the school took care of me and gave me a scholarship. They gave me all the benefits first. I know it must be because of you. Did you talk to the school? Jing Jixin asked as he scratched the back of his head. Qin Chu didn't answer his question directly. Instead, he asked, Jixin, what are your plans after graduation? I haven't thought about it yet, but I have to find a job first and make money to help my sister support this family. Qin Chu nodded in approval. What major do you want to pursue? Let me know when the time comes. GK has many subsidiaries, and there's bound to be one that suits you. You can start from the bottom and learn a lot. When the time is right, you can come to the headquarters and help me. Of course, this is only my invitation and suggestion, it's up to you. Can I really go to GK? Jing Jixin was a bit surprised. Of course, you're Huamin's little brother, which means you're my little brother. It's our family business, so of course you have to come. Before Jing Jixin could say anything, Huamian walked in from outside, her hands dripping wet. What are you talking about? You look so excited. She asked with a smile. Nothing, it's just that Jixin told me not to bully you anymore, Qin Chu said. Ha, don't worry, you little brat. Your sister is so fierce, no one will bully me. I'm the only one who can bully others. Huamin patted Jing Jixin's head dotingly. The love of a sister for her little brother was written all over her face. After working for more than an hour, Huamin helped his mother cook 8 dishes. They were all Huamin's favorite dishes: braised pork ribs, soy sauce pork trotters, spicy codfish, bitter melon fried eggs, homemade sausages, salted prawns, pine nut corn, green pepper pork liver, hibiscus soup. Almost all of them were Huamin's favorite dishes. Mommy, you're so biased. You're making all of my sister's favorite food, Jing Jixin taunted on purpose. I just did it casually. Yang Meirong immediately denied. Huamin picked up a piece of pork rib and put it in Qin Chu's bowl. Try this. It's my mom's best dish. No one can make it as good as this, not even the chefs of 5-star hotels. Qin Chu picked up a piece of rib and took a small bite. After chewing for a long time, he finally said slowly, Auntie Yang's cooking is really good. Brother-in-law, it's not right to call her auntie. Shouldn't you call her mom? Jing Jixin purposely said, trying to close the distance between Qin Chu and Yang Meirong. Before Qin Chu could respond, Yang Meirong's face immediately darkened. You flatter me. I don't have such a noble son. I'm not as lucky as Lady Qin. Yang Meirong's words made Qin Chu and Huamin feel very awkward. Jing Jixin realized that he was too anxious and forgot that his mother still didn't like the Qin family. So, he changed the topic and immediately took out a shoebox from under the table and handed it to Huamin. Sis, this is for you. Happy birthday. Huamin took it and opened it. He almost fainted. It was a pair of black flat-heeled shoes. The leather looked good, but the style was so old-fashioned that it couldn't be any more old-fashioned. At this moment, she really doubted her brother's taste in shopping. Jishin, did you get the wrong one? You bought this for Mom, right? Huamin asked. It's not for Mom, it's for you. This style is too old-fashioned. Jing Jishin, are you sure you're not joking? Huamin wanted to cry. Chapter 493. Yang Meirong stared at the shoes and said, You really don't know how to buy things. I don't even like these shoes. They're too old, they're from 10 years ago. Ayaya, you guys really don't know anything. You don't know anything about fashion, yet you're saying that my taste is old-fashioned. Let me tell you, these shoes were custom-made at a private workshop. I drew the design myself, and I picked the leather myself. Including the materials and the craftsmanship cost, it costs more than 900 yuan. Do you know? Even though they're not branded, they're handmade and are very comfortable. My sister doesn't need fancy heels. If she goes to an event, my brother-in-law will prepare them for her. She usually runs around the hospital, so these shoes are the most comfortable for her there. After listening to Jing Jishin's earnest advice, Huamin suddenly felt that it made sense. But a pair of shoes like this costs more than 900 yuan. Jishin, did he scam you? Huamin placed the shoes on the ground and stepped in with one foot. They fit perfectly. Of course not, they're worth the money. Wear them, I promise you that they won't break even if you wear them for 5 years. Jing Jishin patted his chest and promised. Qin Chu looked at them and thought that they were pretty good as well. The design is ordinary, but the leather is good. It's perfect for you to wear for work. He really put in a lot of effort. Okay, I'll take them. Thank you, Jing Jishin. Huamin was very happy. Huamin was very touched that Jing Jishin used the money he saved to buy his sister a pair of shoes that cost almost 1,000 yuan. Mom, can you give sis your present too? Jing Jishin looked at his mother and said. What present? Yang Meirong didn't seem to want to say. Hey, hurry up and take it out. I saw you knitting a sweater a few days ago. I knitted it for myself. Yang Meirong was still stubborn. No way, that color is scary pink. If you dare to walk around in that sweater, I won't call you Mom anymore. I'll call you Holy Mother Empress. After hearing what Jishin said, Qin Chu and Huamin both laughed. Yang Meirong was also embarrassed. She stood up and scolded, Don't talk nonsense. Yang Meirong then took out a handbag from the closet behind her and handed it to Huamin. I originally knitted it for myself, but I chose the wrong color. It's too fresh and I can't wear it. I'll give it to you. It was obviously for Huamin, but Yang Meirong refused to admit it. However, Huamin knew what she was thinking. She happily took the bag. Thank you, Mom. Then, Huamin took the bag into the bedroom and changed into the sweater. When they walked out again, everyone's eyes lit up. She was wearing jeans and a light pink sweater with a round collar. She looked fresh and beautiful. The sweater didn't have too many tricks or patterns. It was very simple, but the needlework was very good. Most importantly, it was knitted by his mother herself. This was a kind gesture that couldn't be bought with money. Wow, if my sister walked around our school in this outfit, she would be the prettiest girl on campus. Then, Jing Jishin took out his phone and took a picture of Huamin. Don't talk nonsense. After speaking, Huamin looked at Qin Chu. Does it look good? Emisham, it suits you very well. Qin Chu nodded, not stingy with his compliments. Huamin then walked behind Yang Meirong and wrapped his arms around her neck. He slowly said, Mom, I'm 24 years old today. Thank you for taking care of me for 24 years. In the past 20 years, although you didn't let me live in a mansion, you didn't let me live on the streets. Although you didn't let me wear designer clothes that cost thousands of yuan, you didn't let me freeze. You didn't let me become a rich second-generation heir, but you never lacked my pocket money. You didn't take me to restaurants every day to eat delicacies, but you didn't starve me either. Although you were very ordinary, you gave me 20 years of true love. Even though you sometimes get angry at me, you still care about me. Time has mercilessly taken away your youthful beauty, but don't be afraid, Mom. I am willing to accompany you in the long river of time as you grow old gracefully. Thank you for putting in so much effort to raise a proud and independent Huamin. Mom, I love you, and I will always love you. After speaking, Huamin gently kissed Yang Meirong's wrinkled cheek. At that moment, Yang Meirong burst into tears. Chapter 494. Jing Zhixin also had tears in his eyes, and they were on the verge of flowing out. He wasn't a crybaby, but his sister's words were too heart-wrenching, and he wasn't prepared for it. Qin Chu was also a little touched by Huamin. He knew about Huamin's background, and that Yang Meirong wasn't Huamin's biological mother. However, she still loved Huamin. No matter how arrogant and calm she appeared on the surface, she was still a person of flesh and blood. Especially deep down, there was a kind side to her that all girls had. She knew how to be grateful, and she knew that her adoptive mother was more important than anything else. Even though she wasn't related by blood, it was hard to repay her kindness. You child, where did you get all this nonsense? Seriously. I'll go see if there's any soup left, and get some for you guys. After speaking, Yang Meirong got up and walked towards the kitchen. Sis, look at you, you made Mom cry, Jing Zhixin said with a choked voice. If Yang Meirong wasn't her biological mother, then that meant that Zhixin wasn't her biological brother. However, Huamin still doted on her and watched her grow up. After all these years, the bond between them was even thicker than blood. Just then, Huamin received a red packet notification. She opened it and saw that it was from Huang Yu, 88 yuan. It wasn't a lot, but it was a token of her appreciation. Senior sister, happy birthday. I hope you'll always be so arrogant and strong, Huang Yu sent. Thank you, junior sister, but how did you know it's my birthday? Oh. I saw your resume at the hospital and remembered it, Huang Yu answered vaguely. Oh, I thought you saw Zhixin's post on WeChat, Huamin said meaningfully. Zhixin had just posted a picture of Huamin wearing a pink sweater, along with a caption, Happy 24th birthday, sis. Huh? Really? I didn't notice, I was at work and didn't look at WeChat, Huang Yu explained. Okay, I'll treat you to dinner later. Okay, senior sister. To be honest, after chatting with Huang Yu, Huamin's heart felt heavy. Huang Yu obviously saw Zhixin's post on WeChat, but she didn't dare to admit it and said that she saw his resume from the hospital. This reason was too far-fetched. In fact, even if she said that she saw it on Zhixin's WeChat moments, it wouldn't be a big deal. However, she hid it from him, and ants. Zhixin's. Emichem. How are you and Huang Yu doing? Huamian asked casually while her mother was away. What? Why this? SSSSSS, 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 really. I recently met a patient at Southside. She's from a good family and is a nice person. I'm planning to introduce her to Huang Yu. What do you think? Huamin stared at Jing Zhixin's face and said word by word. After all, Zhixin was only 19 and wasn't experienced enough. He couldn't hide his emotions well enough. After hearing his sister's words, his expression changed slightly. He forced a smile and said, Really? That's a good thing, why don't you tell her? Huamin quietly glanced at Jixin's face and didn't say anything in the end. After lunch, they left the old house. Although Yang Meirong didn't treat Qin Chu nicely from beginning to end, she didn't kick him out. However, she didn't kick him out. Huamian thought this was a big improvement. Jixin's not young anymore, it's okay to have a relationship. Why did you have to force him like you were interrogating a criminal? Qin Chu tilted his head and asked Huamin. Chapter 495. Qin Chu saw everything clearly and felt bad for his brother-in-law. I told you that he and Huang Yu aren't a good match. They thought I didn't know and kept hiding it from me. I don't feel good about it. Young people have their own way of doing things, I don't think you should interfere too much. I didn't interfere, I just gave him advice. I can't do anything if he doesn't listen. I know what you're worried about, but Mian, you have to know that it's useless to tell some people to be careful. They'll only grow up if they fall, Qin Chu comforted her. That's true, but Jixin is my brother. I can't help but worry when I think about how he'll be hurt in the future. You're messed up because you care too much. Qin Chu pinched her face, his eyes full of adoration. Upon hearing Qin Chu's words, Huamin also felt that she was too sensitive about Jixin. He was old and had the right to choose who to fall in love with, but she always felt uneasy, as if Jixin and Huang Yu weren't a good match. After leaving the old house, the two drove straight to a small farmhouse on the outskirts of Sea City. Gao Ran found this place. Apparently, it was a place where the police gathered for dinner. They could fish and eat there, and the environment was beautiful. When they arrived, Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran were already there and fishing. Of course, they couldn't forget to quarrel while fishing. Gao Ran, are you blind? Can't you see that my fish are about to bite? Why did you touch my fishing rod? Sis, it's your eyesight that's bad. It's just the wind, there's no fish biting. Let me tell you, I just fished in this area and nothing took the bait. You should go somewhere else, or else you won't be able to catch a single fish. I want to, I'm Jiang Taigong. It's none of your business if someone is willing to take the bait. Zhu Lingling rolled her eyes at him. Jiang Taigong, are they fishing for fish? They're waiting for Shibua Ho. You should study more, it's good for you. Fuck you. If you're so good at studying, why didn't you go to Tsinghua University? Why did you go to a bullshit police academy? That's because I'm great. I want to be the police of the people, get rid of evil for the people, and protect the peace of the area. Bullshit, you're just afraid of your dad. You're afraid that he'll break your legs. Gao Ran was speechless. Huamin's mood instantly improved when they heard the quarrel between the two clowns from afar. You two quarrel the moment you meet. Are you planning to quarrel for the rest of your lives? Huamin laughed. Why didn't you give me a call before you came? Come, let's go eat. I'm not fishing anymore. Gao Ran threw down the fishing rod and immediately pulled Qin Chu into the yard. Zhu Lingling also stood up. What took you so long? I'm starving. Both of us have finished eating. We ate at my house. You're home. You guys are home. Zhu Lingling looked at Huamian in surprise. Yes. Then your mother didn't do that, did she? What did she do? She didn't kick Qin Chu out, right? Zhu Lingling thought that Huamin's mother was terrifying when she lost her temper. She was 10 times scarier than her own mother. No, she didn't. Although she didn't look too good, she wouldn't kick us out. Huamin laughed. That's not bad, there's hope. He patted Huamin's shoulder and the two of them followed him inside. Zhu Lingling took out a bottle of perfume from her bag and handed it to Huamin. Here, a birthday present. Didn't you already give me a red packet? That was just an appetizer. I'm sure you'll like this. What is it? Huamin curiously took the perfume bottle. He looked at the label and was shocked beyond words. Lingling, this is. Huamin looked at Zhu Lingling in disbelief. Chapter 496. You like it, don't you? Zhu Lingling smiled proudly. How did you get it? Huamin was surprised. This perfume wasn't from a luxury brand, but rather, it was the work of an independent domestic designer. This designer was very strange. He only designed one perfume every year, and only produced 10 bottles of each perfume. He personally mixed all of them. Apparently, he grew the perfume himself and was extremely precious. This perfume was released last year by him. It was called Ultimate Seduction, and it had a very unique fragrance. Back then, many online stores imitated this perfume and it sold like hotcakes. When Huamin and Zhu Lingling were shopping, they met a girl who used the real thing. The fragrance was unforgettable for the rest of one's life. It was very light, but it lasted for a long time. At the time, Huamin loved it so much that he couldn't get his hands on it no matter how hard he tried. The designer only made 10 bottles, and it was already sold like crazy. Now, a year later, when Zhu Lingling brought out this perfume, Huamin was over the moon. What a coincidence, a month ago, the designer sat on our flight in first class. I was serving him, and I recognized him right away. Then, I asked him about the perfume, and I told him that my best friend really liked it. Without another word, he asked me to leave my address and mailed it to me. After every perfume is sold, he keeps a bottle for himself as a souvenir. This is the bottle that he kept for himself. Wow! Lingling, you're so cool, I love you so much. Huamin was ecstatic. Qin Chu looked at his wife faintly and said sourly, "It's just perfume, right? I'll buy you as many as you want." "I like Yanni's perfume," Huamin said stubbornly. Yanni was the designer's English name. "That's easy, just get him to come to GK, and he'll make your perfume in the future," Qin Chu said domineeringly. Huamin was speechless. Zhu Lingling, rich people can do whatever they want. Gao Ran, a domineering CEO. Boy. I can't even compare to him. Huamin smiled and carefully put the perfume in her bag. I don't want him to only make it for me. He's a free man and an artist. Restricting him is the same as blocking his talent. That's for the best. This kind of thing can't be forced. If I get it, I'll be lucky. If I don't, it's up to fate. But the designer is so kind to give you his treasured collection. Don't tell me you slept with him. Gao Ran interrupted sourly. Fuck your grandpa. Do you think everyone is as dirty as you? Fuck my bed. Ahem, hold on, are you saying that you two have slept together? Huamin asked on purpose. Cough. Gao Ran coughed violently, not knowing how to cover it up. Zhu Lingling realized that she had let the cat out of the bag and immediately explained, it was a misunderstanding. We were both drunk and accidentally. Nothing happened between us, really. Emichim, I believe that you two slept together and nothing happened. Really? Emichim, I believe you. Huamin laughed hysterically. She was amused by Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling's awkward expressions. Only a ghost would believe that, Qin Chu suddenly said. Hey. Don't change the subject. Let me ask you, why did the designer sell you the perfume? Gao Ran looked at Zhu Lingling and asked. Of course he wouldn't sell it to me so easily. I gave him Michael Jackson's collector's edition album. He's a fan of Michael Jackson. Lingling, you gave him the album. Huamian knew that Lingling had bought the album from a lot of music stores when she went to the States for a vacation. She had always loved it. Oh. I gave it to him. It's okay. After a while, I didn't like it anymore. I exchanged it for perfume for you. It's not a loss. Zhu Lingling smiled. Huamin knew that Zhu Lingling had always been a loyal friend. For something that she liked, she was willing to give up her own things to exchange for it. A best friend like her was worthy of a deep friendship. Huamin didn't take the risk to save her at the nightclub in vain. Hearing that Zhu Lingling had exchanged perfume, Gao Ran was relieved. Hey, what about you? Did you give me the birthday present? Hurry up. Zhu Lingling was afraid that Qin Chu and Huamin wouldn't let go of the fact that they slept together. She immediately pinched Gao Ran's shoulder and reminded him to take out the present. Chapter 497. After Zhu Lingling's reminder, Gao Ran immediately understood. Then, he turned around and took something out of his bag. There was no fancy packaging or bag, he simply placed it on the table. Huamin, this is for you. Happy birthday. Gao Ran's gift left the other three dumbfounded. Are you kidding me? Gao Ran, you're not serious, are you? Huamian looked at the gift in astonishment. Of course I'm not joking. I'm giving it to you from the bottom of my heart. This thing isn't easy to get. I had to give it to you for personal reasons. It's even numbered, so it's definitely authentic. It's different from those high-quality imitations you can buy online. You can't get it even if you have money, understand? Huamin stared blankly at the brand-new pair of handcuffs on the table. He felt like 1,000 alpacas had run through his heart. It really was a pair of handcuffs. And it was brand new with a set of numbers. But who would give a birthday present as a gift? Was Gao Ran crazy? However, Zhu Lingling knew Gao Ran better than anyone else. She immediately understood what was going on. She laughed and scolded Gao Ran. Gao Ran, aren't you a little too mean? They just got married not long ago. Isn't it a little too extreme for you to give them SNM? Qin Chu, Huamin, what are you afraid of? This is fun, understand? Especially since they're newlyweds, they should try something new to improve their relationship. Huamin, don't be shy and don't be afraid. These are for Qin Chu, not for you. When the time comes, put them on Qin Chu and you can do whatever you want with them. You can choose any position you want, Gao Ran said in all seriousness. Qin Chu, Huamin, this is the first time I've seen someone give handcuffs as a gift. Gao Ran, you're really something else, Huamin sighed from the bottom of his heart. That's exactly what I want to do. Ha! I think you're just trying to save money. You cheapskate, you just don't want to give us expensive gifts. No way, you have to treat us to this meal today, and you have to take us to Seductive Fox tonight. Otherwise, I won't forgive you, Zhu Lingling said as she pursed her lips. Ha, no problem. That's not a problem at all. But are you sure you want to go to Seductive Fox? You're not traumatized? Gao Ran admired Zhu Lingling. After what happened last time, she still dared to go to Seductive Fox. What are you afraid of? Do they want to die? Although Zhu Lingling was mocking Gao Ran, she couldn't hide the admiration in her eyes. Gao Ran was the youngest captain of the criminal police force in the history of the city. He had only been in office for a few years, but he had solved countless cases. Countless times, he had confronted criminals and saved hostages. Needless to say, he was very adventurous. Although he didn't speak seriously, his character spoke for itself. TSK. I like what you said. Fine, it's just spending money, right? I'll be ruthless and take out a year's worth of salary to treat you guys to some fun. Gao Ran gritted his teeth and accepted Zhu Lingling's trap. Huamin smiled as she took the handcuffs. After fiddling with them for a while, she looked at Qin Chu and faintly said, Honey, why don't you try it? I don't think that's a good idea, honey. Chin Chu slowly replied. You two are so cruel. But seeing how harmonious you guys are, I'll swallow this PDA. Gao Ran teased. Zhu Lingling suddenly asked, did you see the 400 million yuan mansion? When are you going to invite us over? Anytime. Hua Min slightly smiled. After the four of them finished eating at the farmhouse, they sat around for a while before driving to Seductive Fox. As soon as the four of them sat down, the door to their private room was pushed open. A tall and handsome man stood at the door with 4 bodyguards behind him. Chin Chu, he greeted. Chapter 498. Rick. When he saw Rick, Chin Chu stood up and walked over. He bumped shoulders with the tall and handsome mixed-blood man and greeted him in a manner unique to men. Why didn't you tell me you were coming? I could have prepared. It's okay, I just brought my good friend and wife over for a chat. Rick nodded and said a few words to Chin Chu before he left. Soon, the waiters came in one after another. Dozens of exquisite fruit platters, beer, red wine, and foreign wines were placed on the table. Among them were 2 bottles of Royal Salute. Gao Ran knew about Royal Salute. It was a 50-year-old bottle of Royal Salute. The market price was around $10,000, which was around 60,000 renminbi. There were only 255 bottles in the world. It seemed like the owner was really generous to send such expensive wine over. It could only be said that he and Chin Chu were close friends. Gao Ran drooled as he looked at Rick. Not bad, bro. You actually know the big boss here. This kid is a weirdo. He rarely interacts with the outside world and is very mysterious. I suspect that he has a background in the underworld. I've been investigating him for a long time, but I couldn't find anything. He's a member of Rick's family. When I was in America, I was friends with him. After I came back to China, I didn't contact him much. After all, his business scope is different from mine. Chin Chu didn't seem to want to talk about Rick. Hua Min could tell, but he was afraid that Gao Ran would continue to ask. He changed the topic and said, did you guys forget to buy me a birthday cake? Don't mention it, I really forgot. Zhu Lingling suddenly realized. That's easy, I'll make a call and have someone send it over. Gao Ran stood up and was about to make a phone call. Just then, a waiter knocked on the door and came in with a 3-tiered cake. It was extremely stylish. Our boss ordered this, please enjoy. This kid is really a god. He even knows that it's someone's birthday. Gao Ran looked at Chin Chu in confusion. I told him to prepare it just now, Chin Chu said faintly. Fuck. So that's what you said. You're so attentive. Gao Ran patted Chin Chu's shoulder. Then, the 4 of them sat down, and Zhu Lingling placed 24 candles for Hua Min. Then, he took out his phone to take pictures. Hurry up and make a wish. Blow out the candles, birthday girl. I wish you good fortune and a long life. Gao Ran joked. Happy birthday, my wife. Chin Chu kissed the corner of Hua Min's lips gently, and the sweetness instantly overflowed. Then, Zhu Lingling, Gao Ran, and the others posted on their WeChat moments. Hua Min also took out his phone and posted on his WeChat moments, 24 years old, happy birthday. After hesitating for a moment, she opened Sina Weibo and posted. Today, I'm 24 years old. I'm thankful to everyone that appeared in my life. In the future, no matter what happens, I will continue to walk forward with determination. If things go smoothly, it's called life. If things go rough, it's called experience. Actually, she didn't want to post on Sina Weibo, but she suddenly remembered that Siu didn't have her WeChat. That guy gave her bullet shells and even set off fireworks. If she didn't say anything, it would be too much. Sure enough, Suyut saw the update and sent her a private message with only 4 words, "Happy birthday." Hwamin also replied with 2 words, "Thank you." Although they were so polite and distant, Suyut felt happy because Hwamin replied to her. He even posted on Weibo to express his gratitude. "Why are you smiling like an idiot? Did Imperial Star's stock price hit its upper limit?" Wei Liao looked at Suyut smiling as he held his phone and was very confused. "No. Then why are you so happy? Guess." Suyut looked up and smiled mysteriously. "Do I even need to guess? I can tell with my eyes closed." "What, did Miss Hua agree to have sex with you?" Wei Liao teased on purpose. Chapter 499. I want to go on a date with you, do you want to? Suyut glared at Wei Liao as he clenched his teeth. I'll pass. I like girls, not guys. Even if you're pretty, I won't do it. Suyut never thought that he would one day be so happy because of a normal Weibo post from a girl. Ever since he met Hwamin, he suddenly realized that the world had become a better place. Even though Hwamian wasn't his girlfriend yet, he felt that his life with her was different from before, where he spent all his time drinking and fooling around. At least he had something to look forward to every day. Hwamin was like a drug that he couldn't get rid of. Once he was infected, he would be deeply addicted to her. Oh right, back to business. I heard that Zhao Qingya suffered a lot in there. You know what a women's prison is like. It's much worse than a men's prison. Don't you feel bad for her at all? Wei Liao had always been a gossipy person, so he would talk to Tang Chuan and the others about things in private. They all knew about Zhao Qingya's situation in the prison. A certain rich kid's family was the leader of the prison, so they knew better than anyone else what kind of life Zhao Qingya was living in there. Feel bad? She's lucky that I didn't skin her alive. Suyut's eyes turned cold at the thought of Zhao Qingya. Luckily, Hwamin was fine. Otherwise, even if Zhao Qingya died 10 times, it wouldn't be enough to cover Hwamin's life. Women could play tricks and fight with each other, but Zhao Qingya was so stupid as to use those scum in the mafia. Suyut was infuriated. Luckily, Hwamin wasn't an ordinary person. He was always able to stay calm in the face of danger and turn danger into safety. Therefore, Suyut knew exactly what kind of life Zhao Qingya was in there. What he wanted was to torture her for 8 years. He wanted her to reflect in pain, tsk. He really doesn't know how to be protective of the fairer sex. But that woman is also too much. Why did she provoke Hwamin? I don't understand. Is Hwamin someone she can afford to touch? Humans should know their limits. Otherwise, they won't even know how they died. Wei Liao sighed. Suyut didn't say anything. He just picked up the phone from time to time and stared at the screen. She couldn't seem to get enough of the photo that she had inadvertently taken. In the VIP room of Seductive Fox nightclub, Qin Chu answered a phone call and kept talking about work. Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling, the 2 microphone hogs, kept hogging the microphone. Just pick whatever you want to listen to. I know everything. Zhu Lingling was a little drunk. She was wearing a short black skirt and a small leather jacket. She was standing on the coffee table, looking crazy. You 2 sing Mortal Love Song for me, Hwamin said seriously. Sis, can you do it? Your taste. Zhu Lingling glared at Hwamin, exasperated. You can sing The Hottest Ethnic Trend for me too, Hwamin added. Gao Ran was drinking beer. When he heard this, he almost spat it out. Qin Chu, is your wife from Rabbit Nest Village in Mountain Valley Town? She's so tacky, okay? Who would listen to The Hottest Ethnic Trend in this day and age? Gao Ran asked with a smile. Qin Chu was on the phone listening to an executive report from his company. Then, he looked at Huamin lovingly. My husband has the same taste. Are you going to sing or not? If you don't know how to sing, just say so. Don't make excuses for yourself. Huamin deliberately laughed. Who said I don't know how to sing? Of course I know how to sing. The boundless horizon is my love. Zhu Lingling began to roar. She was already out of tune on the first note. Oh my god, this tune has gone to the South Pole. Zhu Lingling, do you dare to shut up? Gao Ran yelled. I don't dare, ha ha ha. Zhu Lingling stood on the coffee table, twisting her waist as she glared at Gao Ran. Her comical appearance made Huamin burst out laughing. Just then, Huamin's phone suddenly rang. She looked down and saw the caller ID. Her expression changed. Chapter 500. After a moment of hesitation, Huamin still picked up the phone. As she picked up the phone, she walked out of the private room with her phone in hand. Hello? Happy birthday, Mian. Ning Ziyuan's voice was a little hoarse on the other end of the phone. Thank you. Huamin's voice was faint and distant. Mian, I miss you a lot. Ning Ziyuan, let me remind you that you are now Wu Xiaoshua's husband, and soon, you will be the father of her child. Please remember who you are at all times. At this moment, Huamin wanted to laugh when she heard Ning Ziyuan say that he missed her. What was he doing when she needed his help so much? It was his nature to hit someone when they were down. Mian, I really regret it. I should have listened to your explanation back then. I shouldn't have doubted you, and I shouldn't have done those things to hurt you. I know you won't forgive me, but I still regret it, do you know? I don't want to give up, and I don't feel good about it. God gave me such a good girl, why didn't I cherish her? Ning Ziyuan was probably drunk, so his tone was a little emotional. Huamin only listened quietly, without any emotional fluctuations. In this world, there's no medicine for regret. Life is a one-way train, and everyone has to be responsible for their own choices. Maybe this is fate. Thank you for your birthday wishes, and don't call me again, because we don't even need to say hello. After speaking, Huamin decisively hung up the phone before Ning Ziyuan could say anything. She was a very decisive person, and once she broke up with someone, she wouldn't linger or dawdle. Plus, she couldn't become friends after breaking up. After all, she didn't have the heart to accept everything that had happened in the past. If it weren't for the fact that the number system was based on her real name, she would have changed her number a long time ago. Otherwise, Ning Ziyuan's call would have really troubled her. Fortunately, Qin Chu wasn't such a petty person. Otherwise, it would definitely cause a misunderstanding between the two of them. In the corridor of the nightclub, Huamin finished a call and was about to turn around and leave. Suddenly, a familiar voice came from behind her. Little sister Mian. Huamin didn't need to turn around to know that this person was Hua Xiqian, because he was the only one who shamelessly called her little sister Mian. Moreover, he had called her by that name for 7 years. He had actually known Hua Xiqian for 7 years. When she was with Qin Chu, Hua Xiqian had unknowingly existed. Although Huamin had never acknowledged this identity, Hua Xiqian had persistently called him that for 7 years. Outsiders who didn't know would think that they had a good relationship because they called each other so intimately. Why do I see you everywhere? Huamin was speechless. He turned around and coldly glanced at Hua Xiqian. Hua Xiqian's orange shirt was unbuttoned, and his chest was exposed. He looked very unrestrained. He had one arm around a big-breasted foreign girl, looking completely like a rich playboy. Who could tell that this was the president of the Hua Corporation, the famous young Master Hua? It means that we're fated. Little sister Mian, I heard from the old man that you're coming back to the Hua Corporation. Hua Xiqian asked with a smile. Yeah. Hua Min nodded and didn't hide it. That's great, welcome back. Aren't you worried that I'll go back with the old man to deal with you? Hua Min looked at him in confusion. If you're the one who's going to deal with me, then I'm more than willing. Hua Xiqian smiled. Humph, don't try to hypnotize me. Only a ghost would believe you. Hua Min knew that Hua Xiqian was extremely intelligent and shrewd. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten to where he was today, controlled the whole corporation, and forced the old man and his mistress into a corner. Therefore, Hua Xiqian's words couldn't be trusted. He was the best at putting up smoke bombs. After speaking, Hua Min turned around to leave. Hua Xiqian suddenly walked up, took out something from nowhere, and stuffed it into Hua Min's hand. Take it, it's your birthday present. Hua Xiqian smiled casually. Chapter 501. President Hua, are you kidding me? Hua Min didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he looked at the koala in his arms that wasn't even half a meter tall. The president of the Hua Corporation gave her a plush toy that wasn't even worth 50 yuan as a birthday present. She was speechless. Don't you love koalas? Originally, I wanted to give you a real koala. Please, that's Australia's national treasure, Hua Min emphasized. I know, it's not hard to get a friend to smuggle one over, but the hard part is that the koala has to come with a eucalyptus tree, because it likes to eat eucalyptus leaves. The koala is easy to smuggle, but the tree is a bit more troublesome, so I'm going to give you a fake one. Hua Xiqian spoke nonchalantly, but Hua Min was about to go crazy. He actually wanted to smuggle a koala for her. That was crazy, although she really liked koalas. But, wait a minute, even Qin Chu didn't know that she liked koalas, so how did Hua Xiqian find out? How did you know that I like koalas? Hua Min looked at Hua Xiqian cautiously. I guessed, I don't believe you. You can't do anything about it if you don't believe me. Okay, be a good girl, hurry up and take your doll home for your birthday. Don't let your man wait too long, or else he'll come out scowling at you again. Oh yeah, I hate that cold look in his eyes. After speaking, Hua Xiqian walked down the hallway with the hot girl in his arms. Hua Min held the gray koala in his arms for a while, and finally pushed open the door. Ha! Why is there a koala in your arms? It's so cute. Zhu Lingling saw it and immediately snatched it away. Then, she hugged it in her arms. Hua Min sat down next to Qin Chu, and after a few seconds of silence, he slowly said, Hua Xiqian gave it to me as a birthday present. Fuck, he's too stingy. How could the president of the Hua Corporation give such a shabby gift? Gao Ran felt indignant for Hua Min. Forget it. I don't have any relationship with him anyway. I won't accept anything expensive. It would be better if he gave me a toy. Hua Min was calm. Qin Chu glanced at Gao Ran and slowly said, Can you help me check if there are any bugs inside? After Qin Chu finished speaking, the other three were stunned. No way. Hua Min was a little scared. She really didn't think so much just now. After being reminded by Qin Chu, she became nervous. Her relationship with the Hua Xiqian was a little delicate now, and Hua Xiqian might do something to her. Gao Ran then took the plush toy from Zhu Lingling's hands. Based on his experience, he looked through it. As expected, there was something hard in the koala's stomach. I found it. There really is something inside. As Gao Ran spoke, he reached out to touch it. Hua Xiqian, that bastard, how dare he do something to me? Hua Min clenched her teeth, her face dark. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He only watched Gao Ran's actions. After a lot of effort, Gao Ran finally took out the object in the koala's stomach. It was a square brocade box. It was dark red, and it looked very classy, why do I feel like this doesn't look like a bug? Zhu Lingling slowly said as she watched from the side. Huamin didn't say anything. She was also very curious to see what was inside. Speaking of which, how could Hua Xichen be so scheming? How could he give a gift like this? If it wasn't for Qin Chu's reminder, no one would have thought that there was something else inside. It looks like a bracelet. After Gao Ran opened the brocade box, he took out a transparent white jade bracelet. Even if someone who didn't know about jewelry saw it, they would still say that it was beautiful. It looks expensive. Zhu Lingling touched it and thought that it was cool to the touch. Qin Chu stood up and took the jade bracelet from Gao Ran's hand. He glanced at it and slowly said, "This was bought at the Jiuli auction house last week for 8 million yuan. It's a Ming Dynasty imperial concubine bracelet. Apparently, it was bestowed by the Emperor of Wanli." Chapter 502. Gao Ran, wow, 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 Zhu Lingling, 8 million yuan. Hua Xichen spent a lot of money. Huamin, so it really wasn't a bug? Huamin asked worriedly. No, it seems like it's just a birthday present, I was overthinking it. Then, Qin Chu handed the bracelet to Huamin. Huamin felt a little awkward. She picked up the bracelet and was about to walk out. "I'm going to find him and give it back to him. Since he gave it to you, just accept it." Qin Chu was very calm. "You're not mad?" Huamin looked at him worriedly. "Why would I be mad? He gave the Hua Corporation to you." Qin Chu smiled. He knew all too well how Hua Xichen felt about Huamin. However, he didn't want to say too much. He didn't want to burden Huamin, so he sat down with his arm around her shoulders and comforted her. "Yeah, since he gave it to you, you should keep it. If you don't want to wear it, you can give it to your mom. It'll be a waste if you don't want it. After all, Hua Xichen spends a lot of money on girls every year," Zhu Lingling tried to persuade her. Huamin helplessly looked at the 8 million yuan bracelet. She didn't know what to say. She thought it was a stuffed animal, so she accepted it without any hesitation. Who knew that Hua Xichen was hiding something so expensive in his stomach? Hua Xichen was such a psycho. Hua Xichen's gift gave everyone a false alarm, so they were no longer in the mood to continue playing. Everyone left Seductive Fox. Before they left, Rick came out and said something to Qin Chu. Huamian finally understood why Qin Chu had found out about her last time she was in danger. The boss here was friends with Qin Chu. It seemed like her guess was right. If Suyu hadn't helped her last time, Rick would have been the one to help her. If Qin Chu hadn't helped her, Rick would still have helped her get rid of the flies that came to bother her. Inside the presidential suite of a certain hotel, Hua Xichen looked down at the foreign woman underneath him. He was originally in high spirits, but suddenly, he lost his desire. He got off her. "What's wrong?" "Hua." The foreign woman was confused. She looked at Hua Xichen. "Rua, I'm tired." "Okay, remember to call me." After the girl finished speaking in Chinese that was not very standard, she got dressed and left. Hua Mianz's. Hua Xichen's left. Hua's Hua, and Hua. As expected, Hua Min and the others arrived. He knew that Qin Chu had an unusual relationship with the boss of Seductive Fox. Therefore, he had been waiting there for a long time. Finally, he ran into Huamin. Huamian was happy that he gave Huamian the gift, but now, he felt conflicted. Hua Xichen took out a cigarette and lit it, then, he walked to the window with a white towel wrapped around his upper body. As he looked at the beautiful night sky, he suddenly thought of a scene from 7 years ago. Huamin was wearing a blue striped dress. Her hair was in a ponytail as she stood in front of a large glass window. She was seriously looking at a stuffed animal. It was a koala, or a koala bear. Her eyes were so gentle. She even reached out to touch the koala. Even though she knew it was fake, she was still very interested. After that, he never saw any stuffed animals around Hwamin. She didn't like all the dogs and pigs that girls liked. Even the most popular animals on the internet, Ollie and Beauty Bunny, she didn't like them. She liked koalas that looked silly and cute. He was the only one who knew this secret. He bought the half-meter-tall koala at a toy store a long time ago. He bought the jade bracelet at an auction last week. It was a birthday present for her. Hwasichyeon always had an image in his mind. It was of Hwamin wearing a white cheongsam and a white jade bracelet. Hwamin had a very good temperament. She had a classic charm and delicate features. She gave off an aura that could only be felt and not described. Unfortunately, Hwamin didn't like cheongsams and had never worn one. Hwasichyeon gave her a jade bracelet in hopes that one day, he could see her wearing a cheongsam and wearing it. Then, she would amaze time, and amaze him. The smoke from the cigarette floated in the air. Hwasichyeon's lips curled up slightly. "Mion, how much longer do I have to wait for you?" On the way back, Hwamion sneezed. "Achoo. What's wrong? Did you catch a cold?" Chin Chu immediately picked up the jacket beside him and covered Hwamin's legs with it. Chapter 503. I don't think so. It's fine, I have a good physique. Hwamin smiled. After the two of them went home, Hwamin took a shower, exhausted. Then, she rushed out and lay down on the bed. Her hair was still wet. "Honey, get up." "Why?" "Your hair is still wet." "It's fine, it'll be dry tomorrow." Chin Chu, "No, you'll catch a cold." Regardless of whether Hwamin was willing or not, Chin Chu still pulled her out of bed. Then, he took out a hairdryer and slowly dried Hwamin's hair. "Honey, are you treating me like a daughter?" Hwamin asked with a smile. "I don't have a daughter as willful as you." "Don't call me willful. It's my birthday today, and it's not even past midnight yet, so I'm the biggest." Okay, you're the biggest, except for your breasts." Chin Chu mumbled quietly. "What did you say?" Hwamin turned around fiercely. "I said, honey, you're the biggest, and your breasts are so big. You're smart." Hwamin smiled and turned around. She was very happy with her birthday, and the gifts she received from everyone were very special. Other than the handcuffs from Gao Ran, everything else was to her liking. However, she was a bit conflicted about the bullet shell from Suyu, because Suyu's promise was too precious to her. It couldn't be measured with money. The next morning, Hwamin was working the night shift, so she didn't have much to do during the day. After receiving a call from Hua Zhenghai, she went straight to the Hua Corporation. During the board meeting, Hua Zhenghai officially introduced Hwamin to the Hua Corporation. The board members all knew that she was Hua Zhenghai's illegitimate daughter, so they all agreed. Then, Hua Zhenghai gave 2.8% of the company's shares to Hwamin, but she didn't have the right to control it. This was a premeditated plan, so Hwamin didn't find it strange. Hua Zhenghai just wanted to use her as a puppet to deal with Hwasichyeon and protect Hwasi. Shinjiani gave Hwamian a look, and Hwamian immediately understood. So, during the morning meeting, she said to Hwasichyeon, "President Hua, I have a request." "What?" Hwasichyeon didn't look as carefree as he usually did. Instead, he looked very serious, which was completely unlike him. "I want to ask you to transfer Manager Hua back from the Philippines. After all, our corporation is short on manpower, and it's only a small case. We don't need Manager Hua to stay there permanently, Hua Min said slowly. When Xinjiani saw this, she immediately smiled and agreed, yeah, President Hua, I think Hua Min is right. The company is very busy right now. If C comes back, he can help you. Hua Zhenghai listened quietly without saying anything. He was waiting to see Hua Xiqian's reaction. Hua Xiqian slowly turned the Hong Kong dollar in his hand, as if he was deep in thought. After a while, he looked up at Hua Min and asked, if he comes back, will you take his position? Hua Min was speechless. He didn't think Hua Xiqian would do this. Seeing this, Hua Zhenghai quickly said, Xiqian, your sister just came back and isn't familiar with the business. If she goes to the Philippines, she'll delay a lot of things. Don't worry, we'll talk about it later. Of course, Hua Zhenghai didn't say this to help Hua Min. He was just afraid that his son wouldn't be able to come back, and he would lose his helper. Hua Xiqian glanced at Hua Zhenghai and suddenly laughed. Dad, I'm just joking with her. How could I let her go to the Philippines? What if she gets tanned? Upon hearing Hua Xiqian's words, Hua Zhenghai and Xinjiani both let out a sigh of relief. Big brother, just let C come back. Everyone misses him. Hua Yanyan couldn't hold it in anymore. Hua Xiqian glanced at Hua Min and asked, Little sister Mian, are you speaking from your heart? It's your first day back, so I'll give you face. If you want C to come back, then I'll let him come back. The hot potato was once again in Hua Min's hands. Although she didn't like Hua Si, her plan had just begun. She couldn't go against Hua Zhenghai right away, so she had to at least give him some benefits first. Therefore, Hua Min nodded. President Hua, please approve. Approve. Hua Xiqian waved his hand and was extremely straightforward. Xinjiani and Hua Yanyan were immediately overjoyed. After the morning meeting at the Hua Corporation, Hua Xiqian glanced at Hua Min. Come to my office for a second. Chapter 504. Hua Min only wore a white t-shirt, a red windbreaker, and black pants. She didn't look very formal, but she was full of youthful energy. She didn't look like a 24-year-old girl at all. Instead, she looked like a college student. President Hua, what's up? Hua Min didn't want to interact too much with Hua Xiqian, so she went straight to the point. You're on the old man's side now? Hua Xiqian asked with a smile. Yeah, didn't you see it? You're so stubborn. Okay, let's not talk about this. Did you like the koala bear from yesterday? Of course, who wouldn't like an $8 million koala bear? Hua Min purposely looked up and said. Hua Xiqian immediately laughed out loud. What are you laughing at? I'm laughing at how direct you are. Of course, I don't like to beat around the bush. I'm not like you guys who have to be so secretive when it comes to giving me gifts. If I didn't do that, would you have accepted it? It's called scheming, understand? I understand, I've seen how scheming President Hua is. But you can't be cheated on. You're giving me such an expensive gift because you want me to help you deal with the old man, right? No, I alone am enough to deal with the old man and his people. Hua Xiqian shook her head. Then you. Who I give gifts to and what I give is purely up to me. Don't feel burdened. You've managed the Hua Foundation very well. If it weren't for your strict supervision, I reckon that a lot of the funds flow would be unclear. After all, there's not much left after layers of skimming. Although I don't often ask about it, the accounts are clear at a glance. Just treat it as a reward from me. Really? If that's the case, then I won't hold back. Hua Min replied. With me, you don't have to hold back, Hua Xiqian said. Then, she turned the globe and seemed to be deep in thought. Is there anything else? President Hua, if there's nothing else, I'll be leaving. Okay. After she walked out of Hua Xiqian's office, she was stopped by the female secretary again. Miss Hua, the president asked me to give you some skincare products developed by the company. What is it this time? Hua Min was confused. It's a facial mask this time. The president said you got a tan. Hua Min, subconsciously, she touched her face. Was it dark? She wasn't exposed, recently. Hua Min, and Hua Hua Xiqian. Hua. Although she had returned to the Hua Corporation in name, she was only a director in name and did not participate in the internal work. And Hua S. Of Hua, and S have a SST, what, she, Hua, and it. Charity had its benefits. Hua Xiqian's charity had a good reputation and made a lot of contributions to the city. The government granted a piece of land to Hua Xiqian and exempted them from paying taxes this year. Hua Xiqian was really making a big deal out of nothing. She knew that Hua Xiqian would never make a losing deal. In his office, Hua Min was reviewing the medical records of new patients while watching TV. Suddenly, a piece of news came on. Imperial Star Entertainment recently invested in a teen idol movie, Chasing You 99 Times. The female lead was a B-list actress, Jian Tong. Hua Min had a bit of an impression of this woman. She had acted in a few spy movies before. She wasn't very pretty, but she was petite and cute. She stood beside Su Yu in front of the TV. The two of them were promoting the new movie. President Su, according to the grapevine, you've been chasing after a Cinderella. What's her occupation? Can you tell us something? Which girl is so lucky to catch President Su's eye? A reporter suddenly asked. Hua Min suddenly became slightly nervous. She raised her head and stared at the big screen. Chapter 505. Su Yu smiled and asked the young reporter, which news agency are you from? President Su. The young reporter was clearly shocked. Go back and tell your boss that if he dares to ask stupid questions like this again, don't blame me for bankrupting him. Yes, my bad. I'm sorry, President Su. The young reporter was so scared that she quickly backed away. Please ask questions about the company's new movie. Thank you for your cooperation. Lisa immediately ran up to protect her boss. Hua Min finally let out a sigh of relief. Luckily, Su Yu didn't say anything. She was really afraid that if she was exposed, she would have to live under the spotlight and the media every day. Then, she would completely lose her freedom. After South Side was reformed, and because of the Hua Foundation's help, it received a lot of praise. With more and more patients, Hua Min became busier and busier. She was the head nurse, so she didn't have to work many night shifts. However, due to the increase in patients, she had to work overtime. Although it was tiring, it was fulfilling. A few days later, on Friday night, Hua Min was about to get off work after a busy day. Before she walked out, she received a call from Zhu Lingling. Lingling. Girl, hurry up. Miss, slow down. What do you mean by hurry up? Hua Min was confused. I want a ticket for the Night of the Lawrence Pearl. You have to get me one. Night of the Pearl. What the hell is that? Hua Min didn't know what it was, but Zhu Lingling asked for a ticket. It really made her confused. Oh my god, miss, did you come from the mountains? You don't know about it. I don't know, Hua Min immediately refused. Lawrence is the big boss of Las Vegas. Last year, he custom-ordered a luxury cruise ship called the God of Gamblers. This ship cruises around the world and approaches ports at random times. They hold a 3-day party in port cities, also known as the god of gamblers' night. Apparently, a lot of European and American singers and actors will be on the ship. Even the richest people and celebrities in the country will be there. So, what does this have to do with me? Don't worry, listen to me. Lingling seemed very excited. Huamin put on her earphones as she got into the car and placed her bag on the passenger seat. Then, he drove the Audi R8 out of the Southern Recuperation Center. I just got off the plane, and I heard from a guest in the first-class cabin that the gamble god is scheduled to land near our city at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. My goodness, that means we're going to have a luxurious dinner party here for 3 days and 3 nights. We've already sent out the invitations this year, and I heard that there aren't many. There are less than 100 invitations in our city, and all of them are from successful people. Your Mr. Qin is definitely the most important person, so I was wondering if you could ask Qin Chu to get me an invitation. I see. Huamin finally understood. Girl, please, but that's a group of men's games, why would you go? Huamin didn't know what to say. She never liked to join in on the fun. I'm going to see my idol. You know, I really like that handsome Western celebrity. He's so bad, so rebellious, he's so handsome. Zhu Lingling became more and more excited as she spoke. Okay, female pervert, I promise you, as long as Qin Chu has a way to get you an invitation, I'll get you one. That's great, I love you. Okay, I'm driving now, talk to you later. After hanging up, Huamin smiled. Lingling still liked to chase after celebrities. What was so good about Western celebrities? Her English was good, but those people had different lifestyles from her. She was really crazy because of how many international marriages she'd had failed. Huamin didn't forget that she promised Qin Chu that she would stay at the South Hill mansion every Friday. When she parked the car in front of the mansion, a butler immediately came to open the car door for Huamin. Uncle Li, I can do it myself. Huamin was embarrassed to see the 50-year-old man open the car door for her. A young lady, you must be tired. Uncle Li was a butler that Qin Chu had hired from abroad. It was said that he was a very good butler. Huamin was just about to speak when she saw the Maybach slowly drive in. Qin Chu was behind her, but why didn't she see him in the rearview mirror? Chapter 506. Huamin jogged all the way to Qin Chu's car. As soon as he got out of the car, she immediately threw herself at him. She threw herself into Qin Chu's arms. Your car was in front of mine, why didn't I see you? Do you know how to make yourself invisible? Huamin asked with a smile. Only in front of Qin Chu could she see this childish side of Huamin. Qin Chu lovingly pinched her face. I got off from another highway. I went to D City in the afternoon and came back from there. No wonder, when Huamin got off work, she was too tired to change her clothes, so she came back in her white hospital gown. She smelled like formalin. When she threw herself at Qin Chu, the smell stained his shirt. Honey, how dedicated are you to your job? You came back with the smell of formalin. What? You don't like it? Huamin half threatened her. No, I like it a lot. That's more like it. The couple chatted and laughed as they walked into the mansion hand in hand. Uncle Li had already prepared dinner. It was Thai style, and there was even pineapple rice that looked, smelled, and tasted great. When Huamin saw the food, her appetite was whetted. Eat slowly. Qin Chu didn't know whether to laugh or cry when he saw how she ate. Then, he thoughtfully handed her a glass of water. Huamin took a sip of water before she remembered what Zhu Lingling asked her to do. Honey, I have a favor to ask of you. Tell me about it, Qin Chu said as he elegantly ate his dinner. Ahem, there's a Knight of Lawrence's Pearl, do you know about it? Yeah. Qin Chu nodded. Lingling said it's a 3-day, 3-night night of the god of gamblers. She insists on going, but she heard that there are very few invitations. So, she asked me to help her get one. Do you have a way? No. Qin Chu directly refused. Huamin, how is that possible? You're the great Mr. Qin, honey, you must have an invitation, right? Huamin didn't want to make Lingling happy for nothing. Moreover, with Qin Chu's status and ability, it was impossible for him to get an invitation. Who would believe that? Qin Chu slowly put down the fork on the edge of the steak. Honey, I really don't have an invitation. How could that be? Huamin was a little disappointed, because she felt that Qin Chu's expression didn't seem to be fake. But when Huamin heard the word but, a glimmer of hope was reignited in his heart. But I don't need an invitation. I can bring as many people as I want. Fuck. Why didn't you say so earlier? You gave me a false alarm. Huamin was scared out of his wits. In the end, he realized that he didn't need an invitation because Qin Chu didn't need one at all. Face recognition. Face recognition was the proof of strength. I'm not done yet. Qin Chu smiled as he looked at Huamin. He thought that sometimes his Huamin was so silly and cute. So, Lingling, you don't have a problem with this? Huamin asked worriedly. Emichim, no problem. Gao Ran will be there too. Haha, that's great. They're together again. I even suspect that they've discussed this beforehand. Huamin laughed. Honey, you should come with me tomorrow night. Me? I don't think so. I don't like to join in the fun. Huamin shook his head. He really didn't want to join in the fun. But I want you to go. Why? Huamin was a little surprised. Qin Chu rarely invited her to these boring and luxurious dinners. Chapter 507. Because this year's Night of the God of Gamblers is a test of IQ. So you want to test my IQ? Huamin laughed hysterically. No, I want to show off your IQ and let the whole world see how smart my wife is. Ahem. I'll give you 9 out of 10 for your flattery. I'm afraid you'll get too proud. So, you agree. But 3 days and 3 nights is too long. I'll delay my work. Huamin was still a little unwilling. I already called Wu Zhongxing, he wouldn't dare to disagree. Huamin, honey, is it really okay for you to threaten President Wu like this? Will he make things difficult for me? If he makes things difficult for you, then I think Wu Zhongxing doesn't want to be the director anymore, Qin Chu said slowly. Mr. Qin, does your wife know that you're so domineering? Huamin rested his chin on his hand and carefully looked at Qin Chu's devilishly handsome face. My wife knows, because in bed, I'm just as domineering. Huamin immediately covered his face. Was it really okay to flirt like this? Huamin really liked South Hill Manor. It was built with RMB, plus, there were plenty of housekeepers and maids. It was an extremely luxurious lifestyle. However, she could understand why Qin Chu was so considerate. He wanted their child to live a good life. Inside the private mansion, Suyut swam around a dozen laps, exhausted, and walked out of the pool. Wei Liao handed him a towel, then he lay down on a chair and closed his eyes to rest. The night of the Lawrence Pearl, it'll be fun. I'm not going even if it's fun. It's not as fun as Las Vegas. If you think it's fun, then go with Tang Chuan. Suyu was obviously not in the mood. Trash. Come on, did you find out? Do you know if Qin Chu is going? Do you think he's trash? Qin Chu is going too. Suyu was suddenly energized. Not only is Qin Chu going, I think Huamin is going too. Who said that? I said it. Wei Liao was extremely confident. Su Yu, do you think you're a god and can predict the future? When he heard Wei Liao say that he guessed, Su Yu instantly lost interest. Think about it, after you get on the boat, you won't come down for 3 days and 3 nights. Qin Chu is definitely going, because I asked someone to find out that you and Qin Chu are on the first row of the VIP list. From what I know, his assistant cancelled his schedule for the next 3 days, which means he'll definitely be there. Huamin is going because I think Qin Chu won't leave his wife alone for 3 days and 3 nights. Plus, there are so many actresses and young models on the boat. If there's a scandal, he won't be able to clear his name. Do you think Qin Chu is that stupid? Wei Liao's analysis was clear and logical, and Su Yu thought it made sense. He suddenly sat up and took off the towel on his body. What are you doing? Wei Liao was shocked to see him like this. Su Yu didn't say anything. Instead, he picked up his phone and dialed a number. Tell Lawrence, that night of the pearl, I'm going. Wei Liao looked at his impatient expression and smiled. From now on, it seemed like wherever Huamin appeared, Su Yu would target him. The next night at 8:00 sharp, Qin Chu, Huamin, Gao Ran, and Zhu Lingling appeared at the entrance of the luxurious cruise ship. Everyone else was showing their invitations. Qin Chu led them all the way, and no one dared to stop him. They couldn't help but marvel at his power. Do you know what the winner of the Night of the Gambling God will receive as a reward? Qin Chu smiled meaningfully as he looked at them and asked. Chapter 508. Gao Ran said, I'm guessing it's a luxury sports car, a limited edition Lamborghini or Bugatti. Gao Ran thought that since Lawrence was the big boss of Las Vegas, he wouldn't be stingy with his money. Zhu Lingling said, I'm guessing it's a VIP card from one of Lawrence's casinos. That's such a lame guess, who would care about a VIP card? Gao Ran said in disdain. I think you're lame too. This time, even Huamin was on Gao Ran's side. Okay. Zhu Lingling obediently shut her mouth. Honey, what do you think? Qin Chu was looking forward to Huamin's opinion because he was always smart. Huamin thought for a moment and said, since Lawrence is the big boss of a casino, then it must be related to money. I'm guessing the final reward will be US dollars. PSH. I thought you had some new ideas, but you're just as lame, Gao Ran said in disdain. Yeah, girl, your IQ is dropping, huh? Huamin only smiled slightly at their teasing. Qin Chu lovingly lifted Huamin's bangs and smiled. Your little brain is the smartest. Hey, what do you mean? Don't tell me Huamin guessed it right. That's right, it's US dollars. Qin Chu nodded. Fuck, so it's really money, that's so tacky, Gao Ran complained. Money was simple and crude, but none of them had thought of it. Huamin was more shallow, so he guessed correctly. At this moment, Qin Chu continued, this time, our city's VIP list consists of 100 people. Everyone has to pay a deposit of $200,000 in advance, which is also considered the entrance fee. In the end, these 100 people will compete. The winner will win the 100 people's US dollars, and Lawrence will sponsor 50% of the total amount. In other words, the total amount is close to 120 million. Lawrence will subsidize 60 million, and the champion will get 180 million as a prize. Pfft. 180 million, isn't that too exciting? Gao Ran was dumbfounded. You rich people really know how to play. You play with your heartbeat. Zhu Lingling sighed. So, hubby, you brought the 3 of us in, and the 4 of us paid a total of 800,000 yuan. Huamin also found it hard to accept. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have come, okay? What a prodigal. Let me correct you, it's not 800,000. Honey, It's 800,000 US dollars, which is 4.8 million yuan. Qin Chu chuckled. Ahem. For 8 million yuan, that's a lot of money. It's enough for us to go to Las Vegas for 3 days, okay? Why do you have to spend so much money? Huamin wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Although she was married to a rich man and her husband was very rich, she still didn't like to spend money like this. It was 4.8 million yuan, how could they just throw it away like this? Don't worry, honey, we'll work hard to earn it back. How? Are you going to win the championship? You're crazy. Huamin stared at Qin Chu. That's what I meant. It's impossible to count on the two of them, so I'm placing all my hopes on you. Honey, show off your super brain tonight and win the championship. Qin Chu deliberately teased Huamin. Yeah, girl, we believe in you. Huamin, you're the best, keep it up. Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling also sang the same tune. Huamin suddenly felt a lot of pressure. Are you guys trying to kill me? Huamin asked anxiously. Qin Chu smiled and put his arm around Huamin's shoulder. Okay, I won't tease you anymore, let's go in. Qin Chu scanned his fingerprint and the four of them instantly received VIP cards. Needless to say, this was a money-burning night. Even the VIP cards were plated with real gold, so Zhu Lingling jokingly asked if they could take it with them when they left. However, the other three all rolled their eyes at her. They were already on the boat, so why would they care about the gold-plated card? Zhu Lingling was also useless. You can just rely on your looks to attract a rich guy, but if you take away the gold card, you'll lose fans, Huamin said on purpose. Then, he observed Gao Ran, and sure enough, he didn't look very comfortable. Yeah, why don't you just pick up a rich guy or something, so that you don't have to come here for nothing, Gao Ran said against his will. Bastard cop, I dare you to say that again. Zhu Lingling was clearly unhappy as she glared at Gao Ran angrily. Chapter 509. You heard wrong, maybe, I was just saying, the moon is so round tonight, ha. After speaking, Gao Ran purposely looked up into the sky. Gao Ran knew he was in the wrong, so he didn't dare to say anything else. Qin Chu and Huamin looked at each other and smiled. Qin Chu and the other three were dressed very conspicuously. Qin Chu wore a custom-made black suit. Gao Ran, on the other hand, wore a navy blue half-length suit. Zhu Lingling was very pretty. She wore a mermaid skirt and a white Korean-style lotus leaf sleeve t-shirt. She wore golden heels, and her long hair was wavy. She looked mature and sexy. Huamin, on the other hand, was dressed in the weirdest way. He didn't seem to fit in at all with the guests here. Of the guests tonight, the men were all in suits, while the women were mostly in evening gowns or miniskirts. Each of them was prettier than the other. Huamin, on the other hand, only wore a black hoodie with a Mickey Mouse pattern on it. The hoodie was simple, and the pants were loose and tight. On his feet was a pair of white sneakers. He was dressed like a student, too casual. The most unbearable thing was that he was wearing a pair of black spectacles. It covered that pair of beautiful and clear eyes. His hair was combed into one of the most popular buns of the year. It matched his outfit, but it really wasn't suitable for tonight's occasion. To be honest, before they left, Huamin was conflicted and didn't really want to come, so he didn't dress up. Girl, I suggest you change your clothes. You look so forgettable, like a passerby, Zhu Lingling suggested. Yeah, Huamin, I don't want to criticize you, but as a young lady of GK, you shouldn't dress up like a prostitute. Even if you don't amaze everyone, you should at least be memorable, right? Gao Ran agreed with Zhu Lingling. It's fine. This isn't a beauty contest. Besides, my husband doesn't mind me. You two should stop nagging. After saying that, Huamin naughtily hugged Qin Chu's arm and shook it like a little girl. Qin Chu didn't say a word. He just held Huamin's hand, his eyes full of love. No matter what Huamin wore, he looked good in Qin Chu's eyes. There was no doubt about that. Not far away, Su Yu's group arrived. There were 7 or 8 of them, and they were all tonight's VIPs. Su Yu was in the lead, and Wei Liao and Tang Chuan were on his left and right respectively. Su Yu was wearing a white shirt and black casual pants. He looked clean and fresh, and his looks were off the charts. Although he wasn't as monstrous as Qin Chu, he definitely wouldn't lose in terms of aura. Young Master Su, President Su, hello, Young Master Su. Along the way, the guests all nodded and greeted Su Yu when they saw him. I think that's Huamin in front, Wei Liao said in a low voice after taking a closer look. I'm not blind. Su Yu had seen Huamin a long time ago, and his eyes never left him. It was just that her public display of affection with Qin Chu made Su Yu's heart thump a little, so he was in a bad mood. Ahem, this Huamin is really something. He's always showing off his love. As the saying goes, those who show off love die quickly. So, I don't think they'll be together for long. I suggest you make a move soon, Tang Chuan laughed. I won't let you down. Su Yu gritted his teeth and said one word at a time. Then, he strode forward. After they got onto their beds, they took their gold cards and went to their respective rooms according to the room numbers on the cards. The cruise ship was 8 stories high. It was said that there was a bar, a gym, a billiard hall, a KTV, a nightclub, a restaurant, and everything else. It was like a moving 5-star hotel. There was even a shopping mall, an indoor swimming pool, and a mini golf course. It was extremely luxurious. How about I sleep in the same room as Huamin? Zhu Lingling suddenly suggested when they were going to separate rooms. Qin Chu, Huamin. Chapter 5:10. Zhu Lingling, is it really okay for you to interfere with a couple's love? Gao Ran looked down on her. But I don't dare to sleep alone, I'll have nightmares. Zhu Lingling pouted. Don't you have Gao Ran? Him. I don't think that's a good idea, men and women shouldn't touch each other. Zhu Lingling smiled awkwardly. Don't worry, I won't do anything to you. Why are you being so pretentious? Even if you want to do something to me, I don't want to do anything to you, Zhu Lingling retorted. So, big bro, big sis, have you decided whether you want to sleep in the same room? Or do you want to sleep in separate rooms? Huamin asked with a smile. I'm fine with anything. Gao Ran pouted and didn't say anything else. I want to, with you, ahem. Qin Chu coughed at the right time. Zhu Lingling immediately changed her mind. I'll sleep in the same room as the stinky cop, I'll be fine with that. In the end, everyone was happy. Qin Chu had just arrived at the door of his room when he was called away by Rick, who also came to hang out. Huamin sat in his room for a while and felt bored, so he decided to find Zhu Lingling and the others to chat. However, he didn't expect to bump into Su Yu in the hallway as soon as he walked out. The two of them faced each other, and Huamin smiled awkwardly. Hi. She smiled and greeted him calmly. Perhaps she was a bit nervous, but her glasses slowly slid down. Su Yu reacted quickly and caught the glasses. Then, he slowly opened them and put them on Huamin's delicate little face. Tonight, you're very beautiful, Su Yu said seriously as he looked at her. Ahem, don't joke around. Huamin thought that today's outfit made her look like she was going to the market to buy groceries. Su Yu actually said that she was beautiful. How would she know that Su Yu was into this? Maybe it was because he owned an entertainment company and had seen many women in the entertainment industry. I'm tired of those evening gowns, long legs, big breasts. Therefore, when he saw Huamin's childish student outfit, Siyu actually liked it very much. Especially the Mickey Mouse pattern on the shirt, Siyu thought it was cute no matter how he looked at it. If they weren't in public, if Huamin wasn't a married woman, he really wanted to force her into a corner and slam her against the wall. I'm not joking. I'm serious. Just as Huamin was about to say something, he heard Qin Chu walk over from behind and put his arm around Huamin's waist. Then, he slightly smiled at Suyu. Honey, is this your friend? Suyu was a patient of mine when I was at Southside Recuperation Center. We're Dr. Patient, Huamin explained. Hello, Before Qin Chu could finish, Suyu interrupted her. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are at all. I only care about the people I care about. After speaking, Suyu walked away, as if he didn't want to say another word. Suyu is like that, don't mind him, Huamin said to Qin Chu with a smile. Okay. Qin Chu nodded. Then, he hugged Huamin and went back to their room. Half an hour later, the Western restaurant began to prepare an exquisite buffet for everyone. More than 100 people sat in the spacious restaurant, eating high-end food and drinking fine wine. The atmosphere was very good. Near the end, a man with blonde hair and blue eyes who looked to be in his 50s walked to the center of the stage. Is that Lawrence? Gao Ran asked. No, he's only Lawrence's assistant. Right now, we can't see Lawrence in person. He'll only appear at the last moment of the third day, Qin Chu said slowly. In 30 minutes, I'll be waiting for everyone at the cloud hole. 50 people will be eliminated tonight. Good luck, he said in English. Many people sighed after they understood what he meant. They felt that it was too cruel to eliminate 50 people on the first day. 200,000 USD. How could the headquarters be eliminated so quickly? If they're eliminated, will they leave the cruise ship? Huamin was a little worried. He asked Qin Chu in a low voice. Chapter 5:11. You won't leave the cruise ship, but you'll lose the right to continue the competition. You can only be a spectator, Qin Chu said. Oh, that's good. Huamin was relieved to hear that the losers wouldn't be kicked out. Girl, don't worry. With your insane IQ, you won't be one of the 50 eliminated. Zhu Lingling hugged Huamin's neck and smiled intimately. Sister, I'm just worried that you'll be kicked out after you're eliminated. Huamin looked at Zhu Lingling helplessly. Ha ha ha. Gao Ran couldn't stop laughing. What are you laughing at? Don't gloat. Maybe you'll be eliminated earlier than me. Zhu Lingling stared at Gao Ran. Impossible. Although my IQ isn't as high as Huamin's, I won't be one of the 50 eliminated. I'll at least be able to last until the second day. Gao Ran was full of confidence. You're bluffing. Let's see how you'll die later. Zhu Lingling obviously didn't believe him. Qin Chu didn't say much. After the four of them had dinner, they went straight to the cloud hole. The cloud hall was decorated very luxuriously. It didn't lose to the casinos in Las Vegas. The ceiling was decorated with a simulation of the blue sky and white clouds, giving people the illusion that it was daytime. Isn't this idea copied from the Venetian casino in Macau? That's how it is. Zhu Lingling had been to Macau with her friends before, so she had been to the Venetian casino. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Anyway, they're all big bosses in Las Vegas. They're all the same. Huamin nodded. After entering, the waiter at the door gave out 100,000 chips to the beauties. That meant that each of the 100 contestants had 100,000 chips. Then, they sat down and played. After 2 hours, they would check the chips in their hands. those with more chips would win. In the end, the 50 contestants with less chips would be eliminated immediately. What's the game later? Do you know? Huamin held Qin Chu's hand and asked softly. 5-card stud. Qin Chu moved his lips and said 2 words. Oh. Huamin nodded. It turned out to be such a simple game of poker. She had only played it on the computer before. He hadn't played with a real person before, so it was quite exciting just thinking about it. Then, Qin Chu walked around the other 3 and said, in a while, the 4 of us will act separately. We can't sit at the same table. We have to win against others. The more we win, the better. Only then will we have a chance to advance. But don't take risks. Don't bet everything on a single round of cards. Sure, no problem. See you later. Gao Ran was also very excited and eager to give it a try. Gambling was not allowed in China, so Gao Ran usually played computer games. However, it was different on a cruise ship. Ever since they boarded the ship had started moving. At this time, they were already in international waters and were no longer in the country. So, no one would restrict you from playing anything. After being a good police officer his whole life, Gao Ran also wanted to know what it was like to be the god of gamblers. After giving his instructions, Qin Chu looked at Huamin worriedly. Honey, there are a lot of people here. It's a bit messy. You have to be careful. Don't go too far. It's best if you stay within my sight. I know. Huamin smiled slightly. All the VIPs in the Cloud Hall had gathered. The organizer announced the start of the game and everyone found a table to sit down. Some people held chips in their hands but weren't in a hurry to play. They were just observing. Huamin was one of the spectators. She held a red chip card in her hand and looked around. However, she accidentally bumped into someone. Huamin quickly apologized, sorry. Huamin, sit down and play with me. Wei Liao smiled and took the initiative to invite her. Huamin wasn't very familiar with Wei Liao. However, she often saw him beside Su Yu. She guessed that they should be very good friends. Seeing that Huamin didn't say anything, Wei Liao continued, why don't you sit at Lord Su's table? He'll definitely let you advance smoothly. Huamin looked in the direction he was pointing at. Su Yu was just a table away. He had already sat down and started to fight. Chapter 5:12. Thank you for your invitation, but I'm in a hurry to play. You guys can go first. Huamin smiled and declined Wei Liao's invitation. Then, she slowly walked around and looked around. She found that many people could not hold back and had already sat down. Huamin wanted to try her luck. She saw that there was a table beside her that lacked a seat, so she sat down beside her. Opposite her was an elderly woman in her 50s. She wore heavy makeup and was slightly chubby. Her hair was tied up and she had a cigarette in her mouth. She did not look like a kind person. On her left was a bespectacled man in his late 30s. He was thin and average-looking. On the right was a bald man with a fat head and big ears. He looked to be in his 40s and was wearing a Rolex watch. The stench of copper filled the air. Oh, a young lady is here. We can reveal our cards now. The bald man smiled wretchedly. The others did not speak. The dealer standing at the side immediately said, everyone is here. We can deal now. Before we deal, please place your bets. The smoking auntie immediately threw in 1,000 yuan worth of chips. Then, the bespectacled man threw in his chips as well. Huamin and the bald man threw in their chips at the same time. They had a total of 4,000 yuan worth of chips. When they called out their cards later, it would not be lower than 1,000 yuan. It seemed that they were not playing very well. It was not an exciting scene that would determine the winner or loser. Okay, we'll deal now. After the dealer finished speaking, he put on his white gloves and started to deal the cards. Card stud was relatively simple. There were 28 cards in total, 8-9-10 J, Q, K, A. Then, they would compare the big and small cards. Everyone would start with 2 bottom cards that only they could see. Then, they would give out 3 name cards that everyone could see. Finally, they would compare the big and small cards. Hwa-min was not very lucky. The 2 bottom cards she got were 8s and 9s. If both cards were 8s, she could get 3 8s and blow it up. However, it was really unlucky to get an 8 and a 9s. Hwa-min noticed the smoking auntie. After she saw the bottom cards, the corner of her mouth curled up. She was very pleased with herself. Then the dealer began to give out the name tags. The smoking auntie's first name tag was K, the bald guy's was J, the glasses guy's was J, and Hwa-min's was Q. The auntie had the most chips, so she said, $3,000. Then, she threw in 3,000 chips. The bespectacled man hesitated for a moment and finally said, I'm not following. Then, he put down his card and forfeited. Hwa-min threw in 3,000 chips and said, call. Baldy also took out 3,000 chips and threw them in. Follow. In the second round, the woman got an ace, the Baldy got a queen, and Hwa-min got a jack. The auntie was the biggest again. She took another $5,000 and threw it in. $5,000. Before Hwa-min could say anything, the Baldy immediately put down his card. I'm not following. He forfeited. The auntie smiled proudly. Then, she looked at Hwa-min provocatively. If Hwa-min also forfeited, then it would mean that the chips that everyone had thrown in just now and the bottom cards that they had placed earlier all belonged to the auntie. Hwa-min calmly picked up his chips. Just as he was about to throw them in, the Baldy reminded him, girl, she has an ace and a king, which is 28 points. You have a queen and a jack, which is 23 points. You've already lost 5 points. If your bottom card isn't big enough, you'll lose for sure. It's not the last round yet. No one knows what the result will be. Who knows, maybe I'll get a big one in the third round. After saying that, Hwa-min threw in 5,000 chips without hesitation. The others looked at her in disbelief. They didn't expect this young girl to be so bold. Hurry up and give out the cards. The auntie seemed a little impatient. The dealer immediately gave out the cards for the third round. Only Hwa-min and the auntie were left in the third round, so only 2 cards were given out. In the previous round, the auntie had the most chips, so she was given out first. This time, she got a queen. Hwa-min got an ace, so this time, Hwa-min had the right to speak. The dealer reminded her, you can place your bet now, madam. Chapter 513. Without hesitation, Hwa-min took out 10,000 yuan worth of chips and threw it in. 10,000, the surrounding crowd was in an uproar. 10,000 yuan was quite a lot. After all, everyone only had 100,000 yuan worth of chips. The smoking auntie was originally full of confidence, but when she saw how generous Hwa-min was, she suddenly hesitated. Her 3 name cards were KAQ, and her bottom card was AK. Hwa-min's 3 name cards were QJA, and her bottom cards were 8 to 9. Whether it was name cards or bottom cards, Hwa-min was bound to lose. However, the others didn't know what Hwa-min's bottom card was, and they only saw how brave she was to bet 10,000 yuan. The bespectacled man said, this girl probably has a straight flush. A straight flush would be 89. 10, JQ, or 10. JQKA, or something like that. Therefore, when they saw that Huamin's name cards were QJA, they thought that her bottom cards were K and 10. Do you want to call? If so, please place your bet, the dealer reminded the smoking auntie. She hesitated for 5 seconds, then raised her head to look at Huamin. She saw that this little girl had a confident look on her face. Then, she gritted her teeth, put down her cards, and said dejectedly, I'm not calling. I declare that this lady wins. Seeing that she gave up, the dealer pushed all the chips in front of Huamin with a ruler. Huamin won 14,000 yuan in one round, and she was extremely satisfied. What's your bottom card? The auntie took one last puff of her cigarette, then threw it on the ground and stomped on the cigarette butt. She was somewhat unwilling to give up and asked Huamin. Huamin smiled, then used her slender fingers to flip over her territory. Once again, everyone's jaws dropped. She only had 8 and 9, she had so much less than her opponent, yet she still dared to bet 10,000 yuan worth of chips. Wasn't she looking for death? What? 8 and 9, you. Auntie was so angry that she stomped her feet. If he had known that this little girl had such a low score, he would have followed her even if he was beaten to death. She had given up at the critical moment because she thought that Huamin had a straight flush. How can you be so confident with such a low score? The bespectacled man was also speechless. He looked at Huamin silently and asked. My confidence doesn't come from my score. It comes from the fact that Auntie doesn't dare to keep up with me because she thinks I have a straight flush. Huamin carefully put away the chips in his pocket. He was in a good mood. I'm so angry. What a pity. The auntie complained. Baldy couldn't help but look at Huamin in admiration. Sister, you're so bold. Let's play another round. No, I have to change tables. You guys have already seen through my psychological tactics. What's the point of playing anymore? Huamin stood up with a smile. In fact, she wasn't afraid to continue playing with these people because they would still lose if they continued playing. Although they were older than Huamin, they were too impatient and showed their emotions on their faces. Huamin could basically guess the size of their cards just by looking at their micro-expressions. It wasn't challenging at all. He tried his luck just now, but his luck wasn't good enough. Fortunately, Huamin was smart and won with psychological tactics. Hey, girl, you're so bold. Sit with me. Let's team up and beat them to death. Tang Chuan had unknowingly run behind Huamin to watch the game. To be honest, he was worried for Huamin. If that auntie was braver and bet 10,000 yuan, wouldn't Huamin lose miserably? This girl really dared to gamble. No wonder Siyu liked her so much. She was indeed very likable. Sorry, I don't like to team up with others. Huamin smiled slightly and directly rejected Tang Chuan's request to team up. Then, she walked to another table. This girl is so cocky. Tang Chuan's face was filled with disappointment. He was counting on Huamin to win more, but he wasn't very lucky today. He played 2 rounds and lost 2 rounds. If he lost again, he would probably be eliminated today. Huamin walked around and finally found Zhu Lingling. When he saw the chips under her eyes, Huamin almost fainted. Miss Zhu Lingling, you're going to be eliminated. Do you know that? Huamin helplessly reminded her as he sat down beside her. Chapter 5:14. I can't help it, I'm just unlucky. Zhu Lingling frowned. The organizers didn't allow anyone to help them, so they had to play by themselves. Therefore, Zhu Lingling became the first victim. She couldn't get Huamin to help her, so she had to try her luck. She didn't know if it was because her opponent was too strong, or because she was just too unlucky. She lost less than 20,000 yuan in an instant. What should I do? Can you help me think of a way to turn this around? Zhu Lingling held onto Huamin's hand. There's nothing I can do. If you lose, you lose. It's good that you're eliminated. Otherwise, you really want to become the god of gamblers. Huamin thought that people like Lingling who didn't have any skills or high IQ should just play for fun. If she lost, then she lost. It didn't matter. She could relax and be a spectator in the future. She didn't have to be so nervous or worried. But, the stupid cop will laugh at me, Zhu Lingling said worriedly. Haha, he won't, because his record isn't good either. He'll probably be eliminated just like you. Really? Ha ha ha, that's great. Then I won't worry anymore. Even if she died, she still had to drag someone down with her. When Zhu Lingling heard that Gao Ran was going to lose, she felt much more relaxed. Huamin turned around and stood next to Qin Chu for a little while. She didn't need to worry about Mr. Qin at all. She won a lot of money, while the other 3 players at Qin Chu's table lost everything. In less than an hour, he won over 300,000 yuan. Then, Qin Chu stood up and hugged Huamin's waist. How was it? Honey? Only 14,000 yuan. Huamin smiled. It's okay, there's still an hour or so left. Let's go get something to drink. Then, Qin Chu hugged Huamin and walked to the lounge area on the side and ordered 2 cups of coffee. Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling had already lost all their bets and were enjoying the view from the side. Gao Ran, that couple is crazy. It's not time yet, but they're already drinking coffee. Zhu Lingling, they are confident that they can win. They are different from us. Gao Ran, didn't you find time to hook up with a rich husband? Zhu Lingling, fishing my ass. My table is full of old men and old women. Gao Ran, ha 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 ha, Zhu Lingling, what the fuck are you laughing at? Does your mom know that you're so easily amused? Huamin and Qin Chu sat for a while and then stood up. Let's go. There's less than half an hour left. Let's play one more round and then stop. Huamin nodded and put on the black glasses. Then, the 2 of them split up again. Huamin picked a table with more chips than the other 3 and sat down. This time, the other 3 players were all young men. They were probably from rich families. Wow, a little girl. How interesting, one of them said. Don't sit here. These 3 are very good, a middle-aged man behind her kindly reminded her. Huamin turned around and thanked him. Thank you, uncle. But I like to play cards with good players. It's very interesting. You have guts. Little girl, I admire you, a male player across from her said with a smile. Huamin didn't say anything. She just took out all her chips and placed them on the table. It wasn't much, just a little over 110,000, but it wasn't little either. Deal the cards. Time is limited, Huamin looked up and said to the dealer. She didn't want to chat at all. It was a waste of time. The dealer nodded and began to deal. Huamin was luckier this round. Both of her cards were KK. The man across from her was bigger and had 2 AA cards. The other 2 players had already forfeited. The chips on the table had reached around 50,000 yuan. This little girl is going to lose. Her opponent should have 3 aces, a spectator said calmly as he analyzed the situation. Chapter 5:15. Yeah, the little girl's cards aren't small either, but she's not very lucky, another person said. Huamin didn't say anything. She just looked at the table quietly. The dealer dealt the cards for the 3rd time, and her opponent got an ace again. Everyone was shocked. There were 3 aces on the table, which was already very big. This time, Huamin's card was a jack. In other words, Huamin's card was a KKJ, and her opponent was a AAA. The young man on the other side laughed and proudly threw in 50,000 chips. 50,000 this time, do you dare to follow? Little girl. Huamin's expression seemed to be conflicted for a while, as if she was considering, sister, don't think about it. Even if you have 3 kings, you're not as big as him. You'll lose miserably. What if his bottom card is 2 eights? Huamin asked back. Ha ha ha, are you kidding? How can I have 2 eights? The man laughed arrogantly. Just when everyone thought that Huamin would give up, she pushed in all the remaining 90,000 chips in her hand. She only said 2 words, all in. Are you crazy? The onlookers behind them were all excited. They immediately scolded Huamin for being crazy. Are you sure all in? The man on the other side was so happy that he almost jumped up. He had never seen such a stupid woman. She even dared to bet that he had 2 eights as his bottom card. But he didn't. His bottom cards were a jack and a queen. So, he thought that this little girl was going to lose. I'm sure, Huamin said firmly. The man immediately took out 90,000 chips and threw in. I'll follow your lead. The dealer looked at the 2 of them calmly and said, please reveal your cards. The man couldn't hold it in anymore and directly revealed his trump card. It was a jack and a queen. He also had an AAA card. Huamin raised the corner of her mouth slightly and revealed her 2 cards as well. Everyone was dumbfounded again, it was 2 kings. In other words, Huamin's face was a KKJ, and her bottom card was a KK. Although the man had 3 A's, Huamin had 4 kings. This was such an unexpected thing, holy shit. 4 kings, this is crazy. The onlookers were all excited. The man on the other side was completely speechless. He looked at Huamin with a pale face. Impossible, she cheated. The dealer said slowly, sir, please calm down. All the cards here are provided by the organizers. There's absolutely no problem. The VIPs who entered the Cloud Hall have also been scanned by high-tech equipment. No one brought in any cards, so there's absolutely no cheating. How is this possible? How is this possible? The man was dumbfounded. He fell into a chair and kept repeating the same sentence. The most infuriating thing was that when he saw the little girl's expression just now, he thought that she didn't have a trump card. If it was someone else who had 4 kings, wouldn't they be proud of it? However, Huamin didn't. She was afraid that if she was too proud, she would scare her opponent away. Her opponent wouldn't dare to place a big bet. Therefore, she pretended to be very conflicted and successfully confused her opponent's analytical ability. The dealer used a ruler to push all 250,000 chips in front of Huamin. Huamin slowly took out her purse and put all the chips in it. Then, she stood up gracefully and left the table. This little girl is so awesome. The other 2 opponents at the table exclaimed. Luckily, they didn't follow until the end. Otherwise, they would lose everything. Does anyone know her? Do you know who she is? One of the men asked. Because the people who boarded this time were all celebrities in the city, most of them knew each other. However, they had never seen this little girl who wore glasses and a Mickey Mouse sweater. Therefore, they were especially surprised. However, most of them said that they didn't know her. This made her identity even more mysterious. When she returned to Qin Chu's side, Qin Chu had already finished the battle. He was sitting on the sofa smoking with $1 million in spoils of war. When he saw Huamin coming over, he immediately pulled her to sit on his lap with one hand. He was extremely doting on her. How much did you win this time? Qin Chu asked with a gentle smile. Chapter 5:16. Not much. Huamin smiled modestly. Not much is not much. Only 200,000 yuan, not even 1/5 of yours. I don't need too much, just enough for you to advance. It's no fun even if I advance, I won't be the champion in the end. Says who? Qin Chu asked with a smile. Of course, with you here, I won't be able to win. Huamin pouted, looking like a wronged wife. I'll give you the championship. No, I want you to win. Why? Because I'd be happier if you won the championship than if I won it myself. Plus, no one knows who I am, so it's useless for me to win the championship. However, you represent GK, so if you win this championship, it'll be great for the company's future development and your personal reputation. You little brain, why do you always think so fast? How do you expect others to live if you act like this? If I wasn't smart, why would I have you as my husband? Huamin retorted. Then, the two looked at each other and smiled. Not far away, Su Yu, who also won over 1,000,000 yuan, silently watched them without saying a word. I say, you didn't have to come. You're not interested in being the god of gamblers, and you don't care about the prize money. Why did you come here to suffer? You even got seasick. Wei Liao complained. Yes, you didn't see wrong, so you got seasick, but he still got on the cruise ship, all because he wanted to see someone. Cut the crap. Su Yu said coldly, and then he turned around and left Cloud Hall with a dark expression. After 2 hours of competition, Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling were both eliminated because they lost all their bets. Some who won a little money were also eliminated, and the remaining 50 would compete in the second round tomorrow. Honey, do you know what we're competing in tomorrow? Huamin asked excitedly. Fight the landlord. Huamin, fight the landlord. Are you sure? Is there really no mistake? Huamin felt that it was a bit ridiculous. Wasn't it too low to compete in such a big venue? Who knows? I guessed. Qin Chu smiled. After returning to his room, Qin Chu took out his laptop and contacted Assistant Yang for a video conference. Huamin wanted to look for Ling Ling, but he suddenly wondered if he would disturb the couple if he went over at this time. Just as she was hesitating at the door, she suddenly saw Wei Liao walking towards her. Huamin, can you follow me to see Su Yu? What's wrong with him? Seeing Wei Liao's anxious expression, Huamin had a bad feeling. He was seasick and vomited a lot. Seasick. Huamin was a bit surprised. Then, without another word, he followed Wei Liao to Su Yu's room. Because they were all VIPs, their rooms were all on the most luxurious floor. They were all executive suites. Also, they were on the same floor, so after walking for a few hundred meters, they arrived at their destination. When Huamin walked in, Su Yu was still leaning against the toilet bowl in the bathroom, vomiting like crazy. Su Yu, I invited the god. Oh, no, I invited the miracle doctor for you. After Wei Liao finished speaking, Su Yu immediately came back to his senses. He was lying in the bathroom in a sorry state. He looked very weak and his face was pale. However, the moment he saw Huamin, his eyes flashed with surprise, although it was only for a short moment. Why are you here? He struggled to get up and took out a piece of tissue to wipe the corner of his mouth. I heard you were seasick. Huamin looked at him quietly. Su Yu nodded, then picked up a pack of cigarettes from the sink and put one in his mouth. Before he could light it up, Huamin rushed over, snatched it, and threw it into the trash can. Ah! What are you doing? Su Yu was slightly surprised. Chapter 5:17. You have no common sense. I don't know how you've survived until now. Seasick people smoke because the smell of cigarettes irritates their senses and brain, making them vomit even more. Suyu, Wei Liao, I'd like to hear what the doctor says. Suyu, she's not a doctor. She's just a nurse, okay? Huamin, so you have the energy to insult me because you don't need my help at all? After speaking, Huamin turned to leave. Hey. I didn't mean it that way. Don't go, I'm really sick from seasickness. This was the first time Suyu had spoken so softly. He didn't really want Huamin to treat his seasickness, he just wanted Huamin to stay a little longer. Huamin stopped in his tracks and turned around in annoyance. He grabbed Suyu's clothes and dragged him to the big bed in the bedroom. Then he took out a bottle of essential balm from his little bag, dipped his fingertips in it, and gently tapped Suyu's left temple. When Suyu's head touched Huamin's fingertips, he felt an electric current coursing through his entire body. That magical feeling, that feeling of nervousness, that feeling of extreme excitement, ahem. I'll leave for a moment, Wei Liao said as he tried to leave. You don't have to leave, I'll take him out for some fresh air. Huamin tapped Suyu's right temple and dragged him out of the room. Less than 5 meters away from Suyu's room, there was a passageway that led directly to the deck above. Huamin dragged Suyu all the way to the deck and enjoyed the comfortable sea breeze. Sure enough, Suyu felt much better. If you're seasick, you can't eat too much food. You have to maintain a half-starved state. Also, you have to avoid irritating smells such as fish, prawns, and tobacco. Getting some fresh air can alleviate your symptoms. Later, you can ask the service desk to send some motion sickness medicine over. Although it doesn't have much effect, it's better than nothing. Huamin said a lot, but Suyu couldn't remember a single word, because he was too focused on Huamin's profile. Huamin was no longer wearing his spectacles. His clean side profile was blown by the sea breeze, and the corners of his eyes seemed to have a different kind of charm. Suyu had a crazy idea. He wanted to hug her and kiss her eyes. However, he didn't dare because he was afraid that once he crossed the line, he would never be able to get close to Huamin again. Do you remember what I said? Suyu, what are you standing there for? Huamin stared at Suyu and asked. No, nothing. Do you remember what I said? Yes. Repeat it to me, Huamin said sternly. Suyu, big sister, are you messing with me on purpose? How can I repeat what you said? I'm not a recorder, Suyu complained on purpose. Forget it, it's a waste of my breath to talk to someone like you. Huamin sighed slightly. Then, he looked at Suyu and asked, I don't understand. Don't you know that you're seasick? Why did you come up? Do you have nothing better to do? Why did you join in the fun? You don't need money, and the prize money isn't tempting to you, right? Ahem. It's purely a hobby, Suyu said on purpose. Are you a gambler? Huamin frowned and asked. No, I like to join in the fun. Huamin, Suyu's answer made her speechless. Joining in the fun was suicidal. Although she couldn't personally experience seasickness, she felt that it was worse than death. But at the same time, he also felt that it was a fate worse than death. His heart, liver, and lungs almost spat out. She felt like she was going to heaven. Okay, anyway, be careful. If you feel uncomfortable, drink some ice water to suppress it. Don't run around and don't eat anything. After speaking, Huamin turned to leave. Huamin, he suddenly called out reluctantly. Huamin turned to look at Suyu. Chapter 5:18. How much did you win today? In fact, Suyu wanted to shout out loud, Huamian, I like you, but he chickened out at the critical moment. Looking into Huamian's eyes, he forced himself to change the words he was supposed to confess to her into. How much did you win today? About 200,000. Oh, okay. I'm going to go now. Call me if you need anything. After speaking, Huamian got off the splint. When Suyu returned to his room, he was in a surprisingly good mood and whistled. Wei Liao took a shower and laid on the chaise lounge with a smile. Did you enjoy seeing her face? Yeah, I enjoyed it. Suyu didn't try to hide it. Don't you know how you looked at her just now? What look? Suyu looked at Wei Liao in confusion. Like a wolf looking at a sheep. If I wasn't in the room, you would have pounced on her when she applied the balm on you, right? Maybe. Control yourself. She's not your wife yet. She will be, sooner or later. Suyu seemed to be full of confidence. I really have to hand it to you. Where did your confidence come from? After Wei Liao saw the relationship between Qin Chu and Huamian, he felt that Suyu had no chance at all. They were childhood sweethearts and had loved each other since high school. It was hard for outsiders to get involved. Mao Zedong once said that people should have dreams. What if they come true? Wei Liao froze. Ha! Did Mao Zedong say that? I won't pursue the matter if it was Mao Zedong or not. But, don't you think it makes sense? Suyu asked back. Wei Liao, I don't think so. Suyu. When Huamian returned to his room, Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling were there as well. Where did you go? I called you, but you didn't answer. My phone is out of battery. Huamian lowered his head and took out his phone, only to find that it was switched off. She didn't want to hide the truth about Suyu from Qin Chu, but since Lingling and Gao Ran were here, she didn't mention it. After all, this was a private matter, and it wasn't good for more people to know. Fortunately, Qin Chu didn't ask her where she went. Let's go to the bar. I heard that the waiters in the bar are all handsome foreigners. Zhu Lingling pulled Huamian away. Qin Chu and Gao Ran followed behind him. The four of them went to a luxurious bar in the middle of the cruise ship. There were many people inside. There was a performance on the stage. It was a pole dance. A Russian girl had a great figure and big breasts. Don't look. Before Qin Chu could look, Huamian reached out and covered his eyes. Huamian, aren't you being too strict? He can't even look. Gao Ran immediately felt bad for Qin Chu. No, he can only look at me. Huamian smiled domineeringly. Qin Chu hugged her waist lovingly and smiled. Oh my God, you're abusing me again. You're so annoying. Zhu Lingling turned her head away and drank her beer gloomily. Don't drink so much. Gao Ran reminded her. What, are you afraid that I'll rape you if I get drunk? Ahem. Gao Ran almost choked on his beer. Let's go, girl, let's go dance. I don't know how to dance, Huamian replied. It's okay, just dance. No one will laugh at us. Then, before Huamian could say anything, Zhu Lingling dragged her onto the dance floor. The loud music was deafening, and Huamian felt like her head was going to explode. Just then, a few men looked over from not far away. Hey, isn't that the girl who beat you at the Cloud Hall today? She has a great figure and is so cute. Yeah, I think she's cute too. Huh, she looks like a sweet, naive girl. She should be a student, the man who fought with Huamian said with interest. Then why don't you go? Ha, if you can't win at the table, you can conquer her in bed. A few rich second-generation heirs laughed and talked about Huamian. The man who fought with Huamian, under the encouragement of the other men, walked over arrogantly. Hey, little sister, we meet again. He stood behind Huamian and greeted her. Huamian turned around and looked at him, but she didn't seem like she was going to say anything. Chapter 519. Sis, are you alone? The man's way of flirting was really old-fashioned. What do you want? Huamin looked at the man and was confused. I lost to you today, but you're really good. Let's be friends. My name is Wang Hao. Sorry, I don't make friends with strangers. Huamin turned on his pretentious mode. We won't be strangers if we get to know each other. The problem is, I don't want to get to know you at all. Ha. What? Sis, are you going to fall out with me after winning my money? The man was a little embarrassed and began to speak in a strange tone. I think you're the one who can't afford to lose, so you want to settle the score. I can't afford to lose. Do you know who I am? Do you know who my dad is? If I tell you, you'll be scared to death. Before the man finished speaking, Gao Ran walked over. What's going on? Gao Ran and Qin Chu were not far away and were staring at them. When Qin Chu saw a stranger approaching, he couldn't stay calm. He wanted to come over, but Gao Ran beat him to it. But it was good. After all, Gao Ran was from the municipal bureau, so it was easier for him to show his face. Seeing Gao Ran walk over, the man was stunned. Then, he smiled apologetically. Hey, isn't this Captain Gao from the municipal bureau? What a coincidence, you're here too. Gao Ran glanced at the man. Wang Hao, you didn't have enough fun in China, so you came to the yacht, right? Hee, it's not illegal to be on the yacht, right? Oh right, is this pretty girl your friend? She's my sister. Ahem. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you. I'll leave first. I'll treat you to tea another day. It's okay, I'll treat you to tea, Gao Ran said with a hidden meaning. The man was so scared that he ran away. Of course, he didn't want to go to the municipal bureau for tea. Haha, who is that person? Did he run away with his tail between his legs like a dog? Zhu Lingling laughed. He's a small entrepreneur. His father used to be a member of the local tax bureau. He's a little rich second generation. However, this kid is not doing his job properly. His business is almost bankrupt. He's often detained by our city bureau because he gathers people to gamble. He's a crazy gambler. I heard that he lost more than 20 million in one night in Macau last year. In the end, he didn't even have a ticket to come back. What a wastrel. Zhu Lingling sighed. Huamin, are you alright? Gao Ran asked. It's nothing. I played with him at the same table during the day and won a lot of money from him. He's probably here to pick a fight. Not anymore. He knows who I am. Okay. Huamin nodded. Then, the three of them returned to the table at the bar and drank cocktails. What a pity that Hua Xiqian didn't come to such a grand occasion, Gao Ran suddenly said. He's never been interested in gambling, Qin Chu said faintly. Yes, he's interested in women. I heard that this kid is very, very perverted. He's looking for a woman every night. His desire is frightening. I don't know if he's really that strong or he's on drugs. Gao Ran laughed. You're so disgusting, Gao Ran. How dare you say such dirty things in front of us? Zhu Lingling pinched him hard. Ouch, don't pinch me. It hurts. It's not a big deal. Huamin has been through this before. He's already married. What doesn't he know? But I'm still single. You're not married, so you know more than other married people. I'm not even hesitating to expose you. Just stop and take a nap. Ahem. Zhu Lingling felt awkward and didn't say anything else. Huamin hugged Qin Chu's arm and listened to the bar singer's English song. He seemed to be in a good mood. Wifey. Qin Chu said in a low voice. Yes. Huamin looked up at his handsome face. If I lose to Su Yu in the championship, will you be disappointed? Qin Chu asked in a very low voice that only the two of them could hear. Chapter 520. Why did you suddenly ask that? Huamin thought that his question was a bit strange. Nothing, it's just a casual question. Of course you won't be disappointed, because there's no way you'll lose to Su Yu, okay? You have that much confidence in me. Qin Chu smiled. Of course, because you're Huamin's husband, so you have to be invincible. Qin Chu reached out his hand and lovingly stroked Huamin's face, as if he couldn't get enough of it. After a while at the bar, Huamin began to feel tired. He suggested that they go back, so everyone followed him. On the way back, Zhu Lingling suddenly asked, "Girl, you're not pregnant, are you so sleepy?" Upon hearing this, Qin Chu and Gao Ran both froze. Then, they looked at Huamin. Ahem, no, my period just ended a few days ago, okay? Oh, you scared me to death, I thought you were going to give me gifts again. Gao Ran patted his chest. Look at how useless you are, I'd rather give you gifts. I want Huamin's child to be born as soon as possible, and I even want to be a godmother. Zhu Lingling rolled her eyes at him. Then I'll be the godfather, Gao Ran immediately agreed. Qin Chu faintly said, You two are so passionate, why don't you have one yourself? Why are you counting on us? Ahem. Gao Ran violently coughed. Zhu Lingling, Huamin smiled and pulled Qin Chu's hand back to their room, not letting him tease the two clowns anymore. You must be tired, go to bed early. Qin Chu patted Huamin's head. Honey, before I went to the bar today, I was actually looking for, you don't have to explain. It's okay. You have your freedom, and I believe in you. Qin Chu didn't let Huamin finish his words. He gently reached out and placed his hand on her lips. Then, he turned around and filled the bathtub for her. Huamin was deeply touched. What else could she ask for in her life? The next day, when everyone woke up, it was already noon. After lunch, the organizer announced that the second round of the competition would be held in the White Jade Hall. Today's competition was even crueler because 48 people had to be eliminated. Only 2 people were left, and the god of gamblers would be decided on the last day. As soon as the rules were announced, everyone started complaining, come on. Huamin clenched his fists and cheered for Qin Chu. Then, he led Lingling to another table. Gao Ran, on the other hand, became Qin Chu's temporary assistant, pouring water for him and staying by his side. He walked around and found that all the other tables were occupied. He frowned. Zhu Lingling pointed not too far away and said, Girl, look, there's an empty seat over there. Huamin walked over and found that the people sitting there were Su Yu and Wei Liao. No wonder no one dared to sit there. No one dared to offend Su Yu, because he was not someone to be trifled with. Originally, Tang Chuan wanted to sit with them, but Wei Liao chased him away. Wei Liao said that he wanted to see if there was anyone brave enough to sit at their table. Today's game was Do Di Zhu. It was a 3-player game, so there was only one person missing. Huamin walked over and saw that it was Su Yu and Wei Liao. For a moment, he didn't know if he should leave or stay. Do you mind if I sit down? Huamin slowly asked. My pleasure. Wei Liao immediately extended his hand to welcome him. Su Yu looked at Huamin and didn't say anything. However, his eyes were like that of a young man in love for the first time. It was so passionate. Zhu Lingling lowered her head and whispered into Huamin's ear, Big sis, let's change tables. These two are not to be trifled with. Wei Liao is fine, but the Su family's crown prince has a bad temper. If he loses to you, will he flip out? He won't. Let's sit here. Huamin smiled slightly, then calmly sat down. She had attracted a lot of people to look at her, because in the eyes of others, this seat was not to be taken. No one dared to sit there. However, Huamin, who didn't care about his life, directly rushed up, so those people waited for a good show. After the cards were dealt, Huamin looked at his cards and calmly said, "Call the landlord." Chapter 521. Not stealing. Suyu said in a muffled voice as he held the cards. Wei Liao was just about to say, "Steal," when he saw Suyu give him a look and immediately stopped. "I won't steal either," Wei Liao stuttered. In the end, the landlord successfully went to Huamin, for 5678910. Huamin played a dragon. "Pass," Suyu only said one word. "I will also pass." Wei Liao looked at the card in his hand and said with difficulty. Huamin could tell that something was wrong with Wei Liao, so he reminded him, "You don't have to go easy on me. This is a competition, not a friendly match. Just play your cards normally. I'm not going easy on you. I really can't control you," Suyu explained. "Yeah, I really can't control you." Wei Liao gritted his teeth. He had already decided that after helping Suyu flirt with girls, he would definitely go to Suyu's mansion after they got off the boat. He wanted to see if there was anything he could scam him with. Otherwise, he would have suffered for nothing. 3 leads 1. Huamin played another card. Pass. Pass. Wei Liao followed Suyu's footsteps. Huamin felt that things were going too smoothly, so he took out a bomb and said, "For 2s. Pass. I'll also pass." Wei Liao continued to feel wronged. Didn't the 2 kings pair up? Why didn't you do anything? Huamin felt that something was wrong, so he looked at Suyu and asked. "You don't have to control me." Suyu explained. "I don't believe you." Huamin didn't wait for Suyu to speak before he went up and spread out the cards in his hand. The dealer quickly stopped her. "Miss, you can't do that. It's against the rules." "It's okay. She's my friend," Suyu explained to the dealer. Huamin took a look. Suyu indeed only had 1 Xiao Wang. It seemed that the other one was in Wei Liao's hands. Thus, Huamin easily won the round and won 100,000 chips. "I don't want to play anymore." Huamin didn't want to play the next round because Suyu and Wei Liao gave in to her too much. It wasn't fun. "What happened? You guys are too insincere. I'll change tables." After saying that, Huamin threw down the chips that he was supposed to take away. "Your chips," the dealer reminded him. "I gave it to him." Pointing at Suyu, Huamin said domineeringly. After Huamin left the table, Suyu slowly pulled out another king from his sleeve. He did have a pair, but he didn't care, he was just that stubborn. Wei Liao glanced at Suyu and laughed. "You rich people sure know how to play. You even took apart 2 kings and hid them. Your flirting skills are unparalleled." Suyu smiled and didn't say anything. He picked up the 100,000 chips that Huamin left behind and felt very happy. Hey, what's going on? Why do I feel like something's wrong? You and Suyu seem to have something going on. Girl. Zhou Lingling wasn't stupid. She noticed that something was wrong and asked mysteriously. "What do you mean something? Don't make wild guesses. Mr. Qin might get jealous." Huamin lowered his voice and reminded her. It's true. Hurry up and tell me, how do you know Suyu? You guys seem to be quite close. Just now, that guy and his friend purposely went easy on you. Even if you played the smallest hand, they wouldn't play a hand. Most importantly, you didn't even want to take the 100,000 chips and gave them to Suyu. Oh my god, you're full of adultery. Zhu Lingling kept asking. Damn, what adultery? It's not that complicated. When he was recuperating, he was in the area I was in charge of. It's a doctor-patient relationship, understand? Huamin explained. No way, I heard that when Suyu was recuperating at Southside, he had a scandal with a nurse. That nurse couldn't be you, right? Zhu Lingling asked excitedly as she grabbed Huamin's shoulder as if she had discovered something new. Chapter 522. It wasn't me, Huamin immediately denied. I don't believe you, there's nothing I can do if you don't believe me. Huamin decided not to tell her because Zhu Lingling was too nosy. If he accidentally let it slip, it would cause unnecessary misunderstandings. The two chatted and laughed as they walked forward. After Huamin left the table, she continued to battle and won a lot more. However, she knew that no matter how much she won, she wouldn't be the winner because there would only be 2 players left. So, during the intense battle, Huamin once again met Suyu. She didn't want to be at the same table as Qin Chu, so she could only battle against Suyu. This time, Wei Liao was already eliminated. Next to Suyu was a middle-aged man who looked more mature. Sit down, we meet again. Suyu smiled. He was clearly in a good mood. Huamin sat down. After the cards were dealt, Huamin and Suyu looked at each other when it was time to call the landlord. This round was very important because one of the 3 of them had to be eliminated, leaving only 2 players left. Is no one going to call the landlord? If no one does, then this round is over and we'll have to deal again, the dealer reminded them. He's calling the landlord. Huamin pointed at Suyu and said word by word. Me? Suyu was speechless. Who would call the landlord for someone else? Plus, his cards weren't good, so why did he have to call the landlord? Wasn't he just waiting to lose? If you want to call, hurry up and call, Huamin ordered domineeringly. Okay, I'll call the landlord. Suyu couldn't resist the temptation of a beauty and finally gave in to Huamin's tyrannical abuse. The dealer was also dumbfounded. After dealing cards for so many years, this was the first time he saw someone call the landlord for someone else. Suyu's cards were not good, but that uncle's cards were also very bad, because Huamin's cards were very good. However, she refused to call the landlord because she wanted to join forces with Suyu to get rid of that uncle. She looked at the chips. She had won about 300,000 yuan, and that uncle had only won 200,000 yuan. Suyu also had more than 300,000 yuan. If Suyu won, then she and the uncle would each have half of their winnings. In the end, the person who was eliminated was still the middle-aged man. If he called the landlord and won, Suyu would be in danger. The other party had deliberately gone along with him the last time, so there was no reason for him not to do him a favor at little cost. As a result, the following situation occurred: A7. Suyu played his card. Yes. Little girl, you can't even handle this. The uncle was a little puzzled. Huamin retorted, I'm a dragon. Don't tell me you want me to disassemble the tubes. The uncle was helpless. In the end, it became the uncle versus Suyu. The strange thing was, Huamin didn't care what the uncle played. Hey, do you know how to play landlord? He's the landlord. If you don't care about him, why do you care about me? The uncle was a little angry. I don't care about him. If you play a dragon, then I'll care about you. The uncle was speechless. Suyu was speechless. In the end, Suyu won with a bad hand. Huamin and the uncle each lost more than 50,000 yuan. After one round, the uncle was successfully eliminated. The dealer glanced at them and announced, you two will face each other. This time, it's 20 points. When Huamin heard that he had to face Siyu for 20 points, he was slightly surprised. The person who advances will be the second winner of tonight's game. Tomorrow, he will compete with the other winner for the championship, the dealer said. Only then did Huamin realize that he was already in the middle of a crucial game with Su Yu. It seemed like Qin Chu had already swept his opponents and won, 20 points. Do you want to play? Su Yu smiled. Since his opponent was Huamin, he was in a good mood. He probably didn't smile as much as he did today in an entire month. Not far away, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan began to gossip. Look at our Lord Su's mouth, it's about to reach the top. Isn't it just playing cards with Huamin? If it's a date, wouldn't he go to the heavens? Tang Chuan joked. Our Lord Su is spending a lot of money to make a beauty smile. Just watch, he'll definitely lose to Huamin, Wei Liao guessed. Su Yu. Huamin called out in a low voice. Yeah. Don't go easy on me this time. It's a fair battle. Before, Siyu lost to Huamin on purpose. Huamin also helped Siyu on purpose, so they were even. Therefore, Huamin thought that it was better to be fair this time. Otherwise, it would be boring. Chapter 523. Okay. Suyu nodded. Huamin had made it very clear. If he continued to let him win, it would be a bit unreasonable. Suyu knew that Huamin had a high IQ. Even if he didn't let him win, he would still win. Let's begin, Huamin said as he looked at the dealer. The dealer put on his white gloves and began to deal the cards for the two of them. The rules of 20 points were even simpler. Each person would be dealt once. If they had close to 20 points, they would win. Of course, it would be best if they had 20 points. If they overdid it, they would lose. The other party could choose whether they wanted more or not. The dealer first dealt to Suyu. Suyu immediately spread it out on the table. It was a red heart 9. The dealer then dealt to Huamin. It was a black heart 6. Suyu said, let's continue. The dealer sent another card with a score of 7. 7 plus 9 was 16, which was very close to 20 points. The dealer then dealt to Huamin. It was a 10. 6 plus 10 was also 16, which was very close to 20 points. Zhu Lingling's heart began to beat wildly. Of course, she was praying that Huamin would win. The dealer looked at the same number and asked Suyu, do you still want to deal? Let's continue. Suyu said calmly. The dealer dealt another card. It was a K. In 20 points, JQ, KA, and so on, so Suyu's score was 17. The dealer continued to ask Huamin, do you still want to deal? Deal. Huamin was also very calm. The onlookers sighed and broke out in a cold sweat for the two of them. The dealer dealt another card to Huamin. It was 3. 16 plus 3, which was 19 points. Zhu Lingling was so excited that she grabbed Gao Ran's collar and said, girl, you're going to win. Big sister, I saw it. I'm not blind, okay? Gao Ran looked helpless. His collar was wrinkled by Zhu Lingling. The dealer looked at Suyu. Do you want to continue? Of course. Suyu was full of confidence. But you're already 17, sir. If you continue, you might surpass. The dealer gave a friendly reminder. My opponent is already at 19 points. If I don't continue, I'll still lose, so I might as well take a gamble. The dealer didn't say anything else and continued to send Suyu another card. Suyu picked it up and glanced at it. Then, he smiled evilly. The moment he spread out the cards, the surroundings exploded. It was also a 3. 17 plus 3, exactly 20 points. Oh my god, it's really 20 points. Young Master Su is so lucky. Yeah, it's amazing. I thought young Master Su would lose for sure. Sounds of discussion could be heard from the crowd. It's over, it's over. She's going to lose. It's too early for me to be happy. Zhu Lingling frowned. It's normal. Calm down. It's good that she loses. What else? Are they going to fight for the championship tomorrow? Gao Ran smiled as he comforted Lingling. Hey, what you said makes sense. The dealer looked at Huamin and asked, do you want to continue? The truth was, Huamin could take a gamble. If the card she sent out was a jack, a ka, and a 1, then it would be a full 20 points. If it exceeded, it wouldn't be a big deal. He would lose anyway. Zhu Lingling thought that with Huamin's adventurous personality, he would definitely take a gamble, but this time, he didn't. She glanced at the cards and said, I've lost. Then, she gave all her chips to Suyu, got up, and walked away confidently. Suyu flipped over the card in the dealer's hand. The next card was an ace. In other words, if Huamin continued, she wouldn't lose. He understood Huamin's personality. Any one of the 4 cards would have been fine. With such a high probability, she shouldn't have given up. Thinking of this, Suyu got up and chased after her. He blocked Huamin's path. What? Huamin looked at Suyu. Didn't you say it was a fair competition? Why did you admit defeat? Suyu asked unhappily. I didn't. A loss is a loss. Impossible, you should have continued. Did you know that card was an ace? But I don't want to bet anymore. I think I lost, Huamin said word by word with her arms crossed. That's impossible, that's not your style, don't say it like you know me very well. Huamin looked at Suyu seriously and said in an unfriendly tone. Tell me, why did you do that? There has to be a reason. Suyu was very serious and insisted on an explanation. You want a reason? Okay, I'll tell you. Listen carefully. Huamin put down her hands helplessly. Chapter 524. Because I don't want to compete with my husband for the championship tomorrow, Huamin slowly said. So, that's why. Suyu felt a little suffocated in his heart. Just now, he thought that Huamin purposely went easy on him because she wanted him to win, but now, she said that it was because she didn't want to compete with Qin Chu. Sometimes, he wanted to find out the truth, but the truth was so cruel. Okay, I got it. Thank you for telling me the truth. Suyu bitterly smiled and turned around in loneliness. The truth was, Huamin didn't feel good either. She didn't want to torture Suyu all the time, but she really didn't want to compete with Qin Chu in the finals and win the championship. Qin Chu loved her so much that he would definitely lose on purpose. It didn't matter if she or Qin Chu won 180 million yuan, but Qin Chu represented the entire GK. So, she couldn't do that, so, she conveniently lost to Suyu. To be honest, she knew that if she continued to deal cards, she would have won. She was so close, and there were so many cards in the deck, so the probability was very high. She just didn't think that Suyu would rush out and ask so many questions. Honey, what's wrong? Qin Chu walked out of the hallway and saw Huamin leaning against the wall in a daze. Nothing, I'm a little bored, so I want to take a walk on the deck. I'm willing to accompany you. Qin Chu said. Then, he held Huamin's hand and the two of them got on the deck. The boundless sea could always make one's heart open up in an instant. Did you lose on purpose? Yeah. Huamin nodded. Because you don't want to compete with me tomorrow? Qin Chu asked again. Yeah. Ha. Silly, it's just a game. Even if the two of us fight tomorrow, it doesn't matter who wins, Qin Chu comforted. Huamin turned to look at him and said slowly, even if it's just a game, I don't want to go against you. Never. After speaking, Huamin threw herself into Qin Chu's arms, like a child who had been wronged. Qin Chu had never seen Huamin like this. His heart ached as he held her in his arms. His hand gently patted her back. It's my fault. I shouldn't have brought you here. If I knew you were so serious, we wouldn't have come. What 180 million? What reputation as the god of gamblers? They can't compare to my wife's happy smile. You only know how to coax me. Huamin raised her head and pinched Qin Chu's chin coquettishly. A day passed in the blink of an eye. Perhaps it was because they were on a cruise ship that they had lost track of time. The third day arrived early. Everyone gathered in the central hall, waiting for the final battle. After rounds of elimination and selection, Qin Chu and Suyu finally walked onto the stage. The stage was 5 meters long, and 5 well-trained dealers stood on the side, waiting for orders. Today is the last round of the competition. The rules of the game are very simple. Both sides will draw cards and compare points. The winner will win 2 out of 3 games. The winner will get a reward of $30 million. Mr. Lawrence will personally sign the check. The blonde-haired, blue-eyed foreign executive spoke in fluent English, and the audience went into an uproar. It was as if they had been waiting for this moment. I have an additional request. Suyu suddenly raised his hand and interrupted the foreign executive. Oh no, our Lord Su is going to cause trouble again. Wei Liao slapped his forehead, sweating. Let him cause trouble, he hasn't stopped since he got on the ship. Tang Chuan smiled. Please speak, Mr. Suyu. The foreign executive knew that Suyu had a powerful background, so he was very polite. Suyu looked at Qin Chu across from him and said word by word, if I win, I want President Qin's date to dance with me. After Qin Chu heard what she said, his bright eyes turned dark and deep. Huamin, who was watching from below, was also slightly surprised. He didn't expect Suyu to make such a strange request. When Suyu said that Qin Chu's date is, our Huamin, right? Zhu Lingling asked, dumbfounded. If it's not Huamin, then it's you. Gao Ran looked at her with disdain. President Qin, what do you think? Suyu smiled provocatively and asked Qin Chu. Chapter 525. Sure, Qin Chu agreed without hesitation. But, Mr. Su, what if you lose? What are you going to give me in return? Qin Chu asked back. Suyu clenched his hands into fists, placed them under his chin, and said meaningfully, I heard that President Qin loves red wine. I happen to have a bottle of Louis XIV in my collection. If you win, you can have the prize money and the red wine, okay? Deal. Qin Chu hated it when people used Huamin as a bet, but Suyu was clearly provoking him today. Therefore, he couldn't refuse, because he wouldn't lose to Suyu. It didn't matter if he accepted the bet or not. This Suyu is crazy, Gao Ran frowned and cursed. Huamin didn't say anything, she just watched quietly. If she had known that Suyu was so bold as to make such a request, she wouldn't have let him win. She wouldn't have let Suyu win and advance to the next round. She would have killed him because of yesterday's competition rules. Not far away, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan became excited. Lord Su is really going all out today. We tried to get him to open that bottle of Louis XIV last year on his birthday, but he didn't want to. Let's not talk about how much that wine costs, the point is that you can't buy it even if you have the money. I can't believe he gambled it away. Tang Chuan was jealous. Haha, why don't you see what he's betting on? He's dancing with Huamin. He wants to dance with his wife in front of her husband. This Lord Su is going to fly into the sky and stand side by side with the sun. Wei Liao sighed. Girl, Siu really cares about you. Qin Chu must be jealous, Zhu Lingling said as she looked at Huamin. No, my husband won't lose. Huamin was full of confidence. I think that's a good idea. Gao Ran agreed. One of the dealers walked to the middle, picked up the cards, and started shuffling. His technique was very skillful, and he was able to cut the flowers freely, just like a magician. Everyone who saw him cheered repeatedly. After shuffling the cards, the dealer spread them out. Both of you, please draw your cards. You go first. Qin Chu made a gentlemanly gesture. Then I won't be polite. Su Yute smiled mischievously, got up, walked over, and touched it once. He casually took one out and spread it out on the table. It was a 7. It wasn't big, but it wasn't small either. It could only be considered medium. Your turn. Su Yu looked at Qin Chu and said indifferently. Qin Chu slowly got up, glanced at the cards, and then took the one at the edge. Finally, he slowly flipped it open. It was 8. Oh yeah. Mr. Qin won this round. Zhu Lingling cheered excitedly. President Qin wins this round, the dealer announced. TSK. I was so close. I'm not convinced. Su Yu shook his head, but his expression was still very relaxed. He's not going to lose, is he? Tang Chuan asked worriedly. No, he's always been lucky. Wei Liao seemed to have complete confidence in Su Yu, just like how Gao Ran had confidence in Qin Chu. Round 2, begin, the dealer announced loudly after shuffling the cards. This time, Su Yu went first. He didn't even look at it, and casually took one out. When he spread it out, everyone looked at it. It was AQ. It's okay this time, it's not small. Tang Chuan was finally relieved. Qin Chu also casually took out a card and spread it out on the table. It was a 10. Su Yu won this round. Their expressions were very relaxed, as if this wasn't even a bet, but a game. No one took the 180 million yuan seriously. What they really wanted to bet on was Huamin's dance. Round 3, begin. The dealer announced. Huamin was a bit nervous. She was really afraid that Qin Chu would slip up and lose. After all, Su Yu wasn't a pushover. You go first this time, Su Yu said. Then I won't hold back. After speaking, Qin Chu walked to the center and looked at the cards for a few seconds. Then, he picked out a card and spread it out on the table. After everyone saw it, someone screamed in surprise. Look, what card did President Qin draw? Oh my God. Someone in the crowd couldn't help but yell. Chapter 526. It was the Ace of Spades, which meant that the biggest number was 15. I'm afraid young Master Su is going to lose for sure. Yeah, young Master Su doesn't look too good. It's the last round. I wonder if young Master Su can get an ace. It'll probably be difficult. Everyone was discussing, and the atmosphere was extremely tense. It's your turn, President Su, the dealer reminded him. Su Yu casually walked over and looked at the cards again and again. He picked them up and put them down, and picked them up again. He changed a few cards, and everyone was scared out of their wits. In the end, even he himself was a little impatient. He took one and slammed it on the table. Hey, I'll take this one. Then, he flipped over the card, and everyone was dumbfounded. It was also an ace of hearts. In other words, the third round was a draw. I declare the third round a draw. The dealer looked at it and announced the result. I suggest that both sides take 15 million USD each, is that okay? The foreign executive stepped forward to be the peacemaker. I'm sorry, but I don't like to tie with others. I like to see who's better and who's better. The winner takes it all. It's either black or white, Suyu said arrogantly. However, it wasn't strange at all. After all, he was Suyu. After all, his surname was Su. He was born to be arrogant. I was thinking the same thing. Chin Chu faintly glanced at Suyu's smug face. If that's the case, why don't we add another round? Please draw your cards again, the executive suggested. Chin Chu walked over, and without even looking, he picked out a card and spread it out. It was an ace of diamonds again. Suyu didn't back down. He walked over, took out a card, and put it on the table. It was an ace of flowers again. For aces were chosen by the two of them, however, it was still a draw. This kind of rare scene was truly unimaginable. The audience was in an uproar. Everyone was talking about how the two of them were card masters. It wasn't a coincidence that they got an ace every time. I didn't expect Suyu to be so strong. Zhu Lingling exclaimed. Do you think the big boss of Imperial Star has a brain for nothing? Chin Chu has met his match this time, Gao Ran muttered. Huamin remained silent as he quietly watched the match. What should we do? Why do we always have the same number? I'm fine with anything. I'll accompany you to the end. Chin Chu looked at Suyu and smiled meaningfully. If that's the case, why don't we let Huamin come up and deal us the cards? Suyu's suggestion once again set off a climax. Letting Huamin deal the cards in place of the dealer, this was the first time in the world. I have no problem with that. Chin Chu naturally agreed. That was his wife. The foreign executive nodded as well. As long as the two of you come to an agreement, it's fine. Huamin, is that okay? Suyu tilted her head and looked at Huamin, who was below the stage, and asked in a serious tone. Huamin let go of her hand and slowly walked up the stage. When she walked past Suyu, she heard Suyu whisper, "Please, I just want to dance with you, that's all." Huamin sighed softly. She knew that Suyu already knew how good she was. She had complete control over who she dealt the cards to, so it all depended on who Huamin wanted to win. Suyu didn't care about the 180 million yuan prize. All she cared about was dancing with Huamin. But Chin Chu gave Huamin a look, which meant, don't be troubled, I'm fine with anything. Huamin immediately understood the look in his eyes. Okay, let's begin. After the dealer shuffled the cards, he handed them to Huamin. Everyone below the stage held their breaths, waiting for the most exciting moment. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.